Pokémon. Starting with Greninja, this video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76. Arrange 1 month's homework. Greninja, a flash of lightning, then Shadow Ball. Zumiu smiled triumphantly. His Greninja is not a pure physical attacker. As a frog with extremely excellent racial values, his special attack is often overlooked. Since Gardevoir is willing to use the future prediction even if it is willing to withstand an attack, then come on. Greninja blasted over with a Shadow Ball, and at the same time, it connected with Zumiu's heart, turned directly into a shadow, and used the secret attack again. Gardevoir was hit by the Shadow Ball, but she also successfully launched a ball of mental power into the sky. This ball of mental power will make a sure hit attack on Greninja after 3 rounds. Grenin. With a scream, the Shadow Ball and the secret attack hit Gardevoir at the same time. The doubled damage of the attribute restraint instantly put Gardevoir, which was not good at physical strength, into a dangerous situation. And because of the effect of provocation, Gardevoir cannot use variable skills such as teleportation or self-recovery at present, and the situation is instantly controlled by Zumiu. Provocation. This seemingly insignificant skill that even many roadside elves would use, actually played a crucial role in this early battle of the Master. This is the ability of the tactical master, and it is also the strength of Zumiu. Indeed, in terms of the control of the timing of the battle and the understanding of training, Zumiu is just a newcomer, and even worse than many newcomers. However, in terms of fighting, Zumiu definitely has his own uniqueness. It's really amazing. Yankiankin saw that she was at a disadvantage. Not only was she not impatient, but she praised sincerely. Seeing that Koga Ninja was going to pursue the victory, Yankiankin quickly ordered, Energy Ball. Then use Magic Leaf. The energy ball quickly took shape in Gardevoir's hands, directly forcing Koga Ninja, who was about to attack again, to retreat, forcing it to distance itself from the 2 sides and avoid the attack of the energy ball. Then, the Magic Leaf arrived late. The must-hit skill made Koga Ninja unable to dodge even if it distanced itself. This combo perfectly takes Greninja's actions into account. If Zumiu really has no way out, he can only watch Yankiankin pull back a victory. Unfortunately, this is Zumiu. Is there anything he can do? Greninja, Swallow Return. The characteristic of being able to change freely can temporarily change the attributes of the L's into the attributes of the skills used. Swallow Return, as a flying skill, not only has the effect of a guaranteed hit, but also allows Greninja to avoid most of the damage from the magic leaves, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Zumiu broke the game perfectly, counterattacked directly, and regained the initiative. A wave of high-quality blood exchange completely eliminated Gardevoir's already bottomed-out stamina. After Greninja used the Water Shuriken to finish off the opponent, Gardevoir fell gloriously and fell unconscious. In this battle, Zumiu won, using the Pokeball to take back Gardevoir. Yankiankin smiled bitterly and shook her head. Sure enough, this guy is a monster. Congratulations, Zumiu, you defeated me, a top trainer. Yankiankin knew that many veteran masters had been defeated by Zumiu, so she, a top trainer, was nothing. But losing is losing, so she generously came to Zumiu and extended her hand. Although Zumiu won, he did not pretend. After a brief handshake with Yankiankin, he smiled and said, "Good luck, good luck. It's all the result of this guy's hard work. I didn't do anything." Cool. The young master is the most powerful. Greninja interrupted at the right time and was directly received by Zumiu in the Pokeball. This guy is too talkative. Fuck. Excuse me, can I be shocked? Don't worry about being shocked, because I'm already stupid. My brain has completely lost the ability to think. Who can give me a slap in the face to wake me up? Forget it. Look at the people here. Who has time to give you a slap in the face? That's right. Speaking of which, I thought Zumiu was very strong, but I didn't expect him to be so strong. Haha, our new beautiful teacher is actually a top trainer. This is outrageous. And what's even more outrageous than this is that my classmate actually defeated her. I'll go back and tell my dad about this, and my dad can take me to see a psychiatrist. The classmates' discussions became louder and louder, and in the end they couldn't hold it anymore and started a group chat mode. Yang Qianqian and Zhongyu looked at each other helplessly. Indeed, their battle today should have dealt a heavy blow to these young children. In a small place like Fengcheng, being able to witness such a battle with their own eyes may be something that many students will never experience in their lifetime. The battle between masters in the early stages of life. This is only seen a few times a year on TV. Now they can see it with their own eyes, and the two sides of the battle are people they are familiar with. It's normal that they can't accept it for a while. Okay, students, stop discussing. Our first class is over. In the following time, the teacher will give each of your elves some training suggestions. Yang Qianqian waited for a while, and when she saw that the discussion had subsided a little and the students had come out of their shock, she began to organize the order and prepare for the next work. If Yang Qianqian had said before that she would provide training suggestions for the students' elves, these students might have laughed it off and done what they had to do. But now, after this battle, everyone knows that Yang Qianqian, a beautiful teacher who looks domineering, is equally domineering in strength. This instantly made them look forward to Yang Qianqian's guidance. Of course, they do not include Liu Xiao. How smart is this little fat guy? He and Zhongyu are friends, and Zhongyu defeated Yang Qianqian. This means that Zhongyu is stronger than Yang Qianqian, and in terms of professionalism, Zhongyu may be more professional than Yang Qianqian. In addition to his relationship with Zhongyu, why should he go far away and compete with dozens of classmates for Yang Qianqian's guidance? Isn't it enough to just go to Zhongyu directly? Brother, you must be tired from the fight just now. Let me rub your legs for you. Liu Xiao came up and flattered him. Brother, your fight just now was so cool. You don't know, when you were commanding Greninja just now, you looked like Edison Chen in the world. So cool. Seeing Liu Xiao coming up and sticking to him, Zhongyu probably guessed what this little fat guy was thinking. He just wanted to get some pointers and suggestions from him. Simple. How could I, Zhongyu, be the kind of person who cherishes my own things? 1 month's homework. You take care of it. Zhongyu raised a finger and said calmly, are you kidding? You want me to work for you for free and take advantage of you? That's not possible. 1 month's homework. Arrange it for me. Chapter 77. Pretending to be awesome without knowing it. Liu Xiao nodded quickly, patted his chest and said, isn't it just 1 month's homework? Easy. Leave it to me, Boss Zhu. For rich students, homework is something that can't be done by just spending money. What a big deal. Not to mention a month. As long as Zhongyu is happy, Liu Xiao can cover his homework for 1 day as long as he goes to school. Zhongyu felt a pain in his heart when he saw Liu Xiao agreed without hesitation. Damn, it's too little. Seeing the little fat man's nonchalant look, Zhongyu felt like he had lost 100 million. Okay, it's just to take care of you. No problem, Zhongyu said with a smile, looking at the little Snorlax beside Liu Xiao. After taking a look, he said with a click of his tongue, your family is really rich. Look at this little guy. You feed him too much, and he has some symptoms of indigestion. My goodness, the little Snorlax is a famous big eater. As a result, Liu Xiao, this bastard, actually fed him too much. How much is he going to eat in this meal? Seeing the silly look of little Snorlax who is so rich, Zhongyu is speechless. This is a real rich man. He doesn't know anything. He just feeds. A good elf is fed to death and becomes a foodie. If Arceus is placed in your house, wouldn't you feed him to death? TSK. Thinking of the foodie in his own family, Zhongyu couldn't help but sigh that this guy was born at the wrong time. If he had been with Liu Xiao, maybe he would have lived a happy life with clothes on his hands and food on his mouth. How about this? You go back and reduce the meals for little Snorlax, and he can't eat when he is hungry. According to the way you feed it, little Snorlax can no longer feel hungry. As long as he is not full, he will eat. This is harming him. He will get anorexia after a long time. I dare not even think about it. How much financial resources are needed to make a little Snorlax get anorexia? No, This is not something that can be done with money alone. Okay, I'll take note. Then about the training, Liu Xiao said with sweat all over his forehead, and looked up cautiously at Zumyu. He agreed to Zumyu's condition of doing homework for a month, just to get Zumyu's guidance on training. What training? What you need to do now is to control the diet of little Snorlax, understand? We'll talk about training after he recovers, Zumyu said impatiently, waving his hand to send the fat boy away. I have to learn how to train elves myself. How can I give you guidance? As for why it can be seen at a glance that little Snorlax is super fat, Zumyu said that he has a special preference for the Snorlax clan. In the past, no matter which version of the elf game he played, he liked Snorlax the most, and he would leave a place for Snorlax in the main team. This silly fat guy is Zumyu's favorite elf. It's a pity that he hasn't met the Snorlax clan since he came to this world. Otherwise he would definitely capture a suitable one to bring to the team. Well, I want it. Not without. It's just that Zumyu is worried that he can't afford it. This guy is too expensive. Although Zumyu claims to be a super second generation, this cheap father seems to be only good in terms of strength. As for the economy, he doesn't help Zumyu at all. Otherwise, would he and Zu's mother have lived so ordinary these years? The money Zumyu spends now is still the money he spent on selling the Charmander Pokémon egg. As for his trip, flying, living in a villa, etc., all of them are free from Sharona. In fact, the training of Pokémons is mainly based on feelings. If you feel the effect of training, it will be good naturally. Look, I don't have any master, nor do I have any inheritance from the strong, but why am I so strong? It's mainly because my Pokémons are self-conscious. To be honest, my Pokémons have their own training methods. They are very self-conscious. They won't sleep unless I watch them every night. Zumyu saw the little fat man looking at him pitifully, and he was a little soft-hearted. Okay, then I'll reluctantly give him a few pointers. Who can blame Zumyu for being kind? Back in the Everglades secret realm, Zumyu was like this. When he met someone he didn't like, he would educate him on behalf of his parents. Now, the little fat man has begged him pitifully. There is no way. He is kind. He is a good person. So, if you want to become a strong person, talent and luck are both indispensable. Look at my elves. Their qualifications are all king qualifications without exception, which is something that many venerables cannot do. My elf team is what they dream of having. However, if it is just like this, I am not strong enough in a short time. It is mainly because my elves are self-conscious. I am not being modest. They really take the initiative to train and learn skills by themselves. They don't need me at all, Zumyu said, and turned around to find that the little fat man had been lying on the ground in autism, holding his little Snorlax. The little fat man wanted to cry but had no tears. This Zumyu is too much. It's okay to show off, but he has to pretend to be a good person. You have to be a good person, right? Don't you let people live? You said your elves can train themselves, why don't you say you are a god? The more the little fat man thought about it, the more wronged he felt, and he almost cried with his head in his hands. Several classmates who heard their conversation also had different expressions, and they didn't know what to do for a moment. What's going on? This Zumyu is so pretentious. Actually, school life is generally good, but you guys are too troublesome and have ruined the school's gravity room. Isn't this free training room good? After returning home, Zumyu summarized his day's campus life and felt that it was generally good, except for some insignificant flaws and episodes. Cool. Didn't you say it yourself, little master, that you should be able to practice to use skills freely under 3 times gravity? Greninja was not talking back, he just told the truth. Zumyu was stunned, thought about it carefully, and quickly shook his head and said, "Impossible. Where did I say such a thing? You heard it wrong. I will let you use skills in the training room." Impossible. As he said that, Zumyu kept shaking his head, staring straight at Greninja. Zumyu wanted to tell him with the sincerity in his eyes that he had never said this. After hearing what Zumyu said, Greninja was a little uncertain. "Koga, you really didn't say that?" Zumyu clicked his tongue and pretended to be unhappy. "You still don't believe me?" After hearing what Zumyu said, Greninja didn't dare to question it anymore, and could only hide aside with his head in his hands, wondering. Did he say that or not? It seems like he did, but I can't remember clearly. Forget it, just assume that I heard it wrong. Chapter 78. I really didn't make a trouble. I'm the king. Zumu saw that Greninja was beginning to doubt himself, and a smile appeared on his lips. Humphrey, young man, you still dare to question me? It's funny, how can I admit that the destruction of the gravity room was my own fault? Opening the map, Zumu began to study it. Collecting 16 city-level gym badges within 2 months is a big challenge. Apart from other things, the round trip alone will take up a lot of time, but there is no way around it. The King Challenge is about to open. If Zumu can't collect 16 badges in time and get the qualification to participate, he can only wait until next year. In addition to the badge of the lava gym that I already have, I am now short of 15. I hope my cheap dad can be reliable, so I can go out quickly. Otherwise, I'm afraid there will be no chance for this King Challenge. Zumu is in a low-key state now, and it's not easy for him to run around now. The main reason is that Lugia is too attractive. He now has little Lugia in his hand. If there is no official recognition, it is not legitimate, and everyone knows the truth that he is guilty of holding the treasure. Zumu can only fight against the strong men at the venerable level now, and it will be difficult for him to go above that. So for his own safety and for the safety of Lugia, Zumu had better not run around. It is easy to have all kinds of unexpected accidents. Now what he has to do is to go to school honestly, wait for his chief father and the chief of the East to study the situation clearly, and let the official classify Lugia as his trainer. In this way, he has a nominal affiliation, and he is the legal guardian of Lugia. If others come to make plans again, it will be illegal. Greninja, let's go. I'll take you out to see. There is a good training gym in Fengcheng. Zumu saw that Greninja was doing nothing and was bored and doing push-ups there. Then he remembered that he promised the elves to arrange training for them. The gym is a kind of inheritance. After being recognized by the Alliance, the strength of the king trainer or above can create a gym and pass on the unique training method created by himself. At the same time, the gym owner is also responsible for protecting the safety of the people. Just like a guy who was beaten by Greninja. It's not that he is a bad player, he is really a bad player, although he is so bad. When Scarface Trezzard came out to make trouble, this guy also fought without hesitation and was even willing to protect Zumu. This is the meaning of the gym and the responsibility of the gym owner. The training hall is different. It is a place that is purely for profit. Here, trainers only need to pay a certain fee to use the various training equipment and training rooms in the training hall. Although Zumu was reluctant to spend money, he had no choice. Since he promised Greninja, he had to do it. Cool. Training? Great. Greninja became excited when he heard Zumu say the word training. Without saying a word, he stopped doing push-ups and came to Zumu with a somersault. He was ready. Okay, you guy. I really can't do anything with you. Seeing the burning passion in Greninja's eyes, he was impatient to urge himself to go out. Zumu could only smile bitterly and started to change clothes. Mom, I'm going out for a while. Well, be careful. Mothers are always like this. They don't care how far their children go, but they will always remind their children to be safe and remember to go home. These are all details in life. If Zumu hadn't experienced his previous life, he probably wouldn't care, but now Zumu is a time traveler after all. Hearing this reminder that he never cared about when he was a child, he suddenly lost his mind. Okay, I'll be back early. With a sunny smile on his face again, Zumu agreed with a smile, closed the door and left with Koga Ninja. After Zumu left, Zu's mother was also a little absent-minded. She stared at the direction of the door in a daze. After a long time, she smiled and said, "Going out for a while, it seems like you have grown up." Standing at the door of Hawaii Training Hall, Zumu looked up at the huge door plaque. After all, it is the largest training hall in Fengcheng. Hawaii has hundreds of chain stores in the East, and it has a very good reputation. It also has a good reputation among trainers. Training here can meet the various needs of Zumu's elves. Zumu's elves are already at the level of a king, and the various equipment needed for training also need certain quality requirements. Let's go in and take a look. Zumu led the Greninja inside. When the receptionist at the front desk saw Zumu and Greninja, she bowed and said, Hello, distinguished guest. Welcome to the Hawaii Training Center. For a moment, Zoomu felt as if he had returned to the bathing center in his previous life. He almost blurted out, "I want a set of 199 packages." "Hello, this is my first time at the training center. Can you introduce it to me?" Putting aside other thoughts in his mind for the time being, Zoomu came to the receptionist and asked. The young lady wore a professional uniform, with her long hair tied up, revealing a delicate melon seed face. Although she can't be called a goddess who is stunningly beautiful, she can also be rated as a high-quality beauty with a score of 80 or 90. It's more than enough to work as a receptionist. "Hello, sir, please register first, and then I will arrange a professional guide to take you to familiarize yourself with the infrastructure of our Hawaii Training Center." Zoomu nodded, feeling a little disappointed. "I thought it was this pretty girl who was going to show me around." "Forget it. I have Sirona, and I can't look at other pretty girls anymore." "Okay." After agreeing, Zoomu stepped forward to complete the identity registration. In the strength column, he checked the rookie trainer, and in the Pokémon strength column, he chose the king level. "Sir, wait a moment. The guide will be here soon." The lady smiled sweetly, and while talking to Zoomu, she began to confirm Zoom's registration form. "Sir, you filled it in wrongly." Pointing to the Pokémon strength column, the lady asked gently. Zoomu was stunned and looked carefully. "Yes, it's the king level." The lady was a little embarrassed, and the professional smile on her face froze a little. "Sir, please stop joking. We need to recommend a training area based on the true strength of your Pokémon." Thinking Zoomu was being unreasonable, the young lady said seriously and solemnly. Zoomu scratched his head. He wasn't joking. "Really, I'm just a rookie trainer. But my Pokémon is indeed at the top level." "That's right, I wasn't joking." Chapter 79, Feng Cheng is too small. "Mr. Zoo, please be serious. We at Hawaii keep the identity information of our customers absolutely confidential and will not disclose any of your information, so please don't." "Now son, what's wrong?" The young lady was about to continue to persuade him to fill in the correct information when a middle-aged man came from a distance. Seeing the young lady excitedly saying something, he hurried forward to inquire about the situation. "Manager Wang, it's like this. This Mr. Zhu is a rookie trainer, but his Pokémon strength is filled in as the king level. I am explaining to him the confidentiality principle of our Hawaii." After hearing what the young lady said, Manager Wang probably understood. It should be that Mr. Zhu didn't want to reveal his strength, so he filled it in casually on the registration form. "Hello, sir, I am the manager here." Manager Wang motioned the young lady to stand aside first, and he stepped forward and greeted Zoomu in person. Zoomu nodded, a little speechless, ready to see what Manager Wang was going to say to him. If he still asked him to change his information, then Zoomu would not train here. What a trouble. "I am a rookie trainer, but I have a Pokémon with king strength. What's wrong? Do I have to lie for the sake of training?" "It's like this, Mr. Zhu. Hawaii Training Hall is currently having an event that requires the strength of a king to participate. If you want to participate, you might as well give it a try." Manager Wang is still very routine, and he directly brought up a king event. "This event is to fight against a top trainer in our hall. If you win, you can use any training equipment in our training hall for free for 1 month. When Zoomu heard this, he laughed at the time. "Okay, I can try it." Free equals free. Zoomu, like free the most. Isn't it just a battle? The top trainer is the trainer who didn't get the top 3 in the King Challenge, or who hasn't participated in the King Challenge. These top trainers generally have King-level Pokémon, but their strength may be weaker than those King trainers. Just like Yankian, the beautiful teacher in the practical training class. She is a top trainer who is preparing for the King Challenge. She already has the strength of a master, but she can't use the title of King Trainer at present, because she hasn't participated in the King Challenge. "Okay, Mr. Zhu, wait a moment. I'm going to contact the top trainer in our training hall." After Manager Wang finished speaking, he poured a cup of coffee for Zoomu from the front desk, indicating that Zoomu could sit on the sofa and take a rest. Then he returned to the front desk and dialed a number. "Manager Wang, we don't have this. SHH, what do you know?" "Shut up, Seeing the young lady at the front desk asking questions without knowing why, Manager Wang quickly signaled her to be quiet. If this Mr. Zhu doesn't have a celestial spirit and just filled out the registration form randomly, then he probably won't participate in the event I mentioned. In this way, during the later training, we can also roughly infer his true strength and not affect the customer experience. But he just agreed to the event I mentioned, which means that Mr. Zhu is at least a top trainer. He is so young and has a celestial spirit. His future can be said to be limitless. If we can make friends with him, let alone a month of free meals, we can even get a year and a lifetime. This is the instruction of the chairman's daughter. Don't talk nonsense. Be quiet for a while. After speaking, Manager Wang's phone was also connected. He quickly bent down and said respectfully, "Miss Yang, are you free now? There is a new trainer who is said to have the strength of a superstar in our training hall. I hope you can have a battle with him. This is also what you instructed before. You want to fight with the top trainer. I just want to take this opportunity to let you test the true situation of this Mr. Zhu." I don't know what was said on the other end of the phone, and Manager Wang quickly hung up the phone. Not long after, a tall beauty walked into the training hall. "Manager Wang, where is she?" The beauty wore sunglasses and a pink motorcycle suit, which showed her perfect figure vividly. Apart from anything else, just looking at this leg is enough to make countless men lose their minds, be fascinated, and nervous. "This is Mr. Zhu." Manager Wang saw the beauty coming and hurriedly said, "Miss Yang, he is the opponent you will fight later." As he said, Manager Wang brought the motorcycle suit beauty to Zumyu. Then, fuck. Zumyu sighed. It turned out to be Teacher Yang. Good guy. I didn't feel anything when I was wearing sportswear during the day, but now I'm wearing a motorcycle suit. What a figure, what legs. In 2 words, wow. Yang Qianqian was also stunned. It was Zumyu, but she was relieved soon. Fengcheng is such a small place. How many superstar trainers can there be? Manager Wang, you go back first. I know this Mr. Zhu. He is my student. Yang Qianqian's fighting spirit was instantly extinguished by Zumyu's bucket of water. After sending Manager Wang away in boredom, Yang Qianqian sat opposite Zumyu and crossed her legs. "Student Zhu, are you here for training?" Zumyu smiled bitterly. "Fengcheng is really small. It's really good to meet a teacher when you come to train." "Yes, Teacher Yang works here." Yang Qianqian heard this and shook her head and said, No. I didn't take private jobs behind the school's back. This is my father's training hall. I am half the boss." Looking up proudly, Yang Qianqian looked at Zumyu and said jokingly, "Manager Wang should have told you that if you beat me, you can get a month's meal for free." Zumyu nodded honestly. He didn't expect that it was Yang Qianqian who did this. Then, "Teacher Yang, do we still want to fight?" "Today Zumyu wanted to say that you have already lost once today, but thinking that she is the boss's daughter after all, it would be easy to get kicked out if he said this, so he quickly shut up. Seeing that Zumyu really mentioned this matter, Yang Qianqian could only shake her head helplessly and smile bitterly. "No need, just get a month's meal." Zumyu hurriedly thanked him, and then asked in confusion, "Why did Teacher Yang return to Fengcheng to be a school training teacher? It seems that you don't need money very much." Yang Qianqian spread her hands. "I'm not short of money, I just have nothing to do and am free. Actually, I'm preparing for the King of Kings challenge, so I came back to Fengcheng and did my daily training in my father's training hall. As for this event, I just wanted to fight and exchange ideas with some strong local players in Fengcheng, so I asked Manager Wang to keep an eye out for it on me." Chapter 80 Visiting the Training Hall. After chatting with Yang Qianqian for a while, Zumyu decided to go and see the situation in the training hall. Yang Qianqian happened to be free, so she decided to take Zumyu to visit. This lava training room is mainly used by people at the level of outstanding trainers. It allows their elves to train in a magma environment, which is very beneficial to fire elves. Zumyu was secretly surprised when he listened to Yang Qianqian's introduction. Sure enough, the real world and the game are different. This kind of training room is like the elf box in the game. He can create different terrains and let the elves train in it. The suitable environment will have great benefits for the elves. However, your treasure is not suitable here. Yang Qian changed the subject and suddenly became playful. It is hard to imagine what it feels like for a long-legged beauty in a motorcycle suit to suddenly become playful. Zumu admitted that he was almost electrocuted. Just a little bit. Why? Zumu asked puzzledly. Stupid. I've already said it's suitable for outstanding trainers. The environment here and the durability of the training room can only be suitable for the training of elves of trainers below outstanding level. Otherwise it will cause excessive wear and tear on the trainer and may cause problems. Yang Qian's explanation made Zumu wake up instantly. It turned out that there was a reason why the school's gravity room was damaged. It was definitely because of greed for cheapness. The materials used by the old principal were not good enough, and finally the training room could not withstand the attack of the king level. That's why it was damaged. So it's not my responsibility. Perfect blame. Zumu continued to ask, in addition to the forest, deep sea, cave, and magma terrains, are there any special training rooms? Zumu is not polite to ask if you don't understand. Since there is a free guide who knows this, wouldn't it be a pity not to ask? Also, my elves are all king strength, so if I can't train here, what's the point of me coming here? Yang Qian is worthy of being a woman who can be a teacher. In terms of patience, it is absolutely enough, she answered slowly. In addition to these basic environmental simulation rooms, there are also power simulation rooms, superpower simulation rooms, combat training rooms, etc. Anyway, there are many types, which can meet the training needs of most elves. As for your second question, I just said that this lava training room is not suitable for your elves. Who said that we don't have a training place suitable for king-level elves in Hawaii? Glancing at Zumu, Yang Qian snorted coldly. Yes, it's over there. Zumu walked forward with her and saw a row of independent small alloy houses. Each of these alloy houses is 4 or 5 meters high and covers an area of nearly 100 square meters. Because the elves at the king level have great destructive power in their every move, the training room must be built separately and use the best alloy. You don't know, each of these training rooms costs at least tens of millions to build, and some special training rooms cost tens of millions of alliance coins. Yang Qian said proudly, and began to introduce them to Zumu one by one. Zumu didn't interrupt, just listened quietly. After all, interrupting. He was impolite. Those who understand will understand, and those who don't will understand when they grow up. Okay, for the next month, you can train at our Hawaii for free. You can also let the elves stay here by themselves during your classes during the day, provided that they don't slack off. Yang Qian is the daughter of a wealthy family after all, and she is very generous when it comes to free meals. Zumu thought about it and it seemed that he could indeed let Greninja stay here by themselves, but Arceus and Lugia can't. Arceus is too greedy. If Zumu is not by his side, this little guy will probably eat up the entire Hawaii. It's safer to keep him by his side. As for Lugia, this little guy is too clingy. Whenever he comes out, he must cling to Zumu, and he is very dependent on him. Then I won't be polite. Thank you, Teacher Yang. After Zumu thought about it, he didn't say anything nonsense and went directly to the gravity simulation room used by the king level. As usual, step by step, let the elves adapt to the gravity environment and improve their basic qualities. Then go to the special training room to practice energy sensing and skill control. If we have time, we can spar more. Yang Qian is also a girl who likes Pokémon battles. The reason why she asked Manager Wang to help her keep an eye on top trainers is mainly so that she can fight with all kinds of trainers without delaying work and basic training. As for why she doesn't travel, aren't there many top trainers in the outside world to fight with her? This is a good question. Zumu also wants to know. Okay, I'm always here for you. By the way, Teacher Yang, you like Pokémon battles so much and you want to participate in the King Challenge. Why do you come to our school to be a teacher? Yang Qian saw Zumu asked this, and pinched her chin and thought about it. It's like this. I'm in the preparation stage now, which means I'm polishing my character and the character of my elves. I've collected all the gym badges. What I need to do next is to adjust my mentality and actively prepare for the battle. That's why I returned to Fengcheng, and I want to polish myself again in the place where I was born. As for being a teacher, the old principal invited me here, and I happened to have nothing to do, so I agreed. Spreading her hands, Yang Qian casually explained, and continued to walk forward with her long legs. Here is our gravity simulation room. The maximum gravity here can reach 100 times, but that's the theoretical value. Generally, the limit for elves at the level of the king is to withstand 10 times the gravity. This 100 times is just a gimmick. Yang Qian was quite honest with Zhumu, and explained to Zhumu in a straightforward manner. Zhumu listened very seriously. These were all knowledge that he might not be able to get even if he spent money. Since Yang Qian was willing to tell him, he would also remember this favor. When he really met this beautiful teacher during the King Challenge, Zhumu swore that he would be gentle. Try not to let the teacher beat you. 06. It would be too embarrassing for the beautiful teacher. After Yang Qian left, Zhumu entered the gravity simulation room and released his 5 Pokémons. He stood in a safe area that could isolate the influence of gravity. Everyone, we can start training. Cool. Training. Upon hearing that they could train, Greninja was the most excited and jumped up and applauded. Charizard's eyes revealed a burning desire to fight. Training. This safe way to become stronger. He likes it the most. Dragonite scratched his head stupidly, looking reluctant. Chapter 81. First formal training. Fengcheng is still too small. As a small city, there are no gyms here, and there are no big German shopping malls. Even outstanding trainers are pitifully few. Here, the titles of Rookie Trainer, Junior Trainer, Senior Trainer, and Elite Trainer are all obtained through assessments in the academy. Once a student graduates from the academy, completes the graduation assessment, and obtains an A-level or above evaluation, he will become an outstanding trainer. Note that it is also very difficult to become an outstanding trainer here, and outstanding trainers must pass the assessment of the Alliance and meet the hard indicators. With more than 3 king-level Pokémon, only then can they become top trainers. In Fengcheng, a small place, there are currently very few outstanding trainers. There are only a group of elite or senior trainers, and these people are considered the backbone here. They often help the city lord of Fengcheng deal with various things. So, after saying so much, it mainly explains why there is only Zhumu himself in the gravity room and no other trainers. The main reason is that they are not worthy. The strength of the king is a level that they can never dream of reaching in their lifetime. If they can really do it, then they must not wake up from the dream. Dragonite, what's wrong with you? Noticing that Dragonite's expression was a little different, Zhumu hurried forward and asked with concern. Dragonite cried softly and put his hand on Zhumu's shoulder. I want to read a book. Zhumu was stunned when he heard this. Yes, he promised Dragonite that he could give him books to read if he went with him. He almost forgot about this. Zhumu slapped his brain and called Dragonite over, letting the other elves continue training. He took out his mobile phone and began to teach Dragonite how to use it. You know human characters, right? You must know. Okay. Seeing that Dragonite was satisfied, Zhumu didn't say anything and started to teach Dragonite how to operate the mobile phone. This is reading software that allows you to read various books and novels. This is for watching short videos. You can learn and understand what you want to know through videos. This is a search software that can answer questions. After Zhumu simply taught Dragonite, this smart guy had successfully learned how to use the mobile phone and began to hide aside with Zhumu's mobile phone to play by himself. Seeing that Dragonite had found the content that interested him, he was happily reading on his phone while bearing gravity. Zhumu was stunned. My Pokémon is too hard-working. He trained so hard and still read books to improve himself. Dragonite, you deserve to be so strong. Zhumu sighed for a moment and secretly decided to buy a mobile phone for Dragonite, but the software on the phone must be strictly controlled, and Dragonite must not learn bad things on the internet, otherwise, it would be troublesome. There are all kinds of people on the internet now. What if Dragonite doesn't learn well and does those messy things? Zhumu dare not think about the consequences. Look at Greninja again. This guy not only practices hard by himself, he also brings Arceus and little Lugia with him. Little Lugia has nothing else but one problem. Zhumu can't leave his sight. As long as he comes out of the Pokeball, Zhumu must be by his side, otherwise he will cry. Greninja, if you have time, teach Lugia the fake cry skill. I think he can do it very well, Zoomu said jokingly, and looked at Charizard, who was doing crazy self-harm training. This cautious guy was afraid of being beaten to death outside, so every time he trained, he was the most desperate one. In his words, it means sweating more during training and losing face less when going out. Only strong strength is the basis of all premises, and Charizard understands this truth better than anyone else. You work so hard, how can I, a trainer, feel embarrassed? Zoomu actually owed these guys a little. Although Zoomu had done his best in eating and drinking, this was not the key. The main reason was that Zoomu didn't want to be a trainer before, so he never paid attention to the training of Greninja and Charizard. As a result, these two guys did not receive formal training and guidance, and they supported themselves to the current level purely by fighting in a wild way. In fact, Greninja was okay. After all, it was sent by Zoomew's cheap father. When he met Zoomew, he was already at the level of a king. But Charizard was not raised by Zoomew since childhood. If it weren't for the dog system's help, Charizard's strength would not have improved so quickly, let alone being as powerful as it is now. Fire Dragon God Bloodline. To be honest, the benefits that this bloodline brings to Charizard's strength are absolutely huge. Moreover, the appearance of this bloodline has also saved Zoomew a lot of money invisibly. If there is no system, Zoomew might go bankrupt just by training Charizard himself. Therefore, the dog system is sometimes a bit desirable. Greninja, don't rush to do the movements. First adapt to this 3 times gravity and then slowly try various difficult movements. Charizard, you're almost there. If you can't hold on, take a break. Don't tire yourself out if you work so hard. If you get injured or sick, it will be very uncomfortable. Charizard didn't want to pay attention to Zoomew at first, thinking that only by training like this can he reach his limit. But Zoomew's last sentence scared Charizard instantly. Roar. Then I'll take a break. Charizard admitted that he was just scared. I'm not afraid of 10,000, I'm just afraid of getting hurt by accident. How dangerous it is. Charizard decided to take a break, and Zoomew also asked Dragonite, who had been doing one-handed push-ups, to take a break. At the same time, he took out 5 bottles of Moo Moo milk and gave them to the elves as water to replenish their physical strength. In just half an hour, Dragonite found that he might really like mobile phones. It's so convenient. You don't need to flip through books to get the knowledge you want. For readers, this is simply a magical tool. Dragonite is now so lucky to be with Zoomew. If it weren't for Zoomew, he probably wouldn't know what a smartphone is in his life. Arceus, you and little Lugia, stop fooling around. If 3 times the gravity is not enough, I will continue to strengthen it for you, Zoomew said, and doubled the gravity under the feet of the 2 beasts, turning it into a 6-fold gravity simulation. In an instant, the 2 little guys fell to the ground and didn't move. The 6 times the gravity. The 2 of them obviously haven't adapted yet, but don't be in a hurry, just take it slow. They are still young anyway, and now is not the time for them to fight. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82. My elf was strong from the beginning. The elves were training very seriously, so seriously that even Zoomew, the trainer, felt a little embarrassed. If he hadn't been unmotivated to become stronger before, perhaps these guys' strength would have reached a new level long ago. It's been 5 hours, what is Zoomew doing? Could it be because he got lost because it's his first time in the training hall? Yankian muttered to herself. Seeing that Zoomew hadn't come out for a long time, she decided to go and see him. When she came to the gravity simulation room, Yankian was shocked. Zoomew was standing in the safe area, commanding his elves to carry out various trainings. Charizard and Greninja were doing push-ups with their fingers, while Arceus was racing with Lugia. As for that Dragonite, this guy was already sweating all over and began to challenge 5 times gravity. Monster, is there something wrong with this guy and his elves? It's just training, but he's risking his life. Zoomew, you won't be here all the time, right? Yankian asked in shock as she walked into the simulation room. She couldn't believe that someone could last more than 5 hours in the training room. Even if the trainer can bear it, his Pokémon should have reached their limit. Sure enough, as soon as Yankiankian finished speaking, Charizard fell to the ground. The Greninja opposite him not only did not come forward to show concern, but instead showed a smug look on his face. Cool, Red Lizard, is this all? Roar. Blue Frog, watch me, the mock Charizard roared, and with his own perseverance, he miraculously supported his body with his fingers again. He continued to do push-ups slowly. After all, he has the blood of the fire dragon god. Because he had never trained before, he rarely felt the feeling of reaching his limit. So although the blood in his body helped Charizard to become stronger, it has not yet played its role 100%. Now, as Charizard continued to consume the energy in his body, the blood of the fire dragon god began to be stimulated. In fact, Charizard has been doing every push-up since the beginning of an hour, relying entirely on his perseverance. And it is because of his perseverance that the fire dragon god blood can be constantly stimulated and stimulated. It has been providing him with energy continuously. That's right, I'm not familiar with the outside world, and my elf is still doing basic training, so I can only stay here. Seeing Yankiankian coming, Zumu asked Dragonite to rest for a while and adjusted him back to triple gravity. Your elf is already a king, why are you still doing basic training? Yankiankian was also puzzled. Other trainers came to the gravity room to challenge their Pokémon to the limit and try more than 10 times the gravity, but Zumu was not like that. He actually started from scratch with his Pokémon. How did you get to this level of strength? Could it be fake? You may not believe it if I tell you. Seeing Yankiankian's puzzled face, Zumu shook his head helplessly and said, my Pokémon has been so strong from the beginning. Well, Yankiankian was speechless. Believe it or not, she didn't want to say another word to Zumu anyway. This guy is too discouraging. What do you mean it's so strong from the beginning? Didn't your Pokémon get trained bit by bit? Okay, it's getting dark. I'll train them for a while and then go back. Zumu thought the Hawaii training hall was going to close, so Yankiankian came to remind him. Yankiankian didn't want to talk. She said she was very hurt. I'll go first. You can practice on your own. Don't train too hard at once to create resistance in the Pokémon. Although she was very unhappy, as a glorious people's teacher, she decided to forgive Zumu and kindly reminded him. Zumu nodded. He now hoped that his Pokémon would have resistance. How boring the training is. There is no internet in this simulation room, and even mobile phones cannot be used. Okay, I will pay attention. By the way, Zumu thought that he would go to school tomorrow and might leave Greninja here. Not knowing whether Yankiankian would allow it, he decided to ask in advance. I have classes tomorrow. Can I leave the Pokémon here and let them stay in the gravity simulation room for training? Worried that Yankiankian would refuse, Zumu also explained, not all of them, just Greninja, Charizard, and Dragonite. Yankiankian was a little confused by Zumu's words. What's the situation? Can your Pokémon really train themselves? No way, right? It's okay to stay here, but are you sure you want to do this? Without a trainer present, the Pokémon trains itself. This is a bit unrealistic. Yankiankian was telling the truth. Pokémon are also independent individuals. They are like children, with very simple minds. Similarly, Pokémon will have their own feelings, and they will also know that training is tiring. Just like the avoidance psychology of humans, Pokémon may not like to suffer. It's a matter of reason. Besides, if Zumu is not present, his Pokémon can train on their own initiative. But what about the training content? Without the control of the trainer, the Pokémon can easily go astray in training, or even go astray. This is commonly known as obsession. The most typical example is that there is a venerable in Western Europe who specializes in psychic. He let his Pokémon practice mental power alone, but the Pokémon did not realize its true situation and accidentally overtrained. It caused a mental breakdown and almost killed him. Therefore, in the absence of a trainer, it is not only unrealistic for the Pokémon to train alone, but it is also a very dangerous thing. However, Zumu looked indifferent. Sure, they can do it themselves. As he said that, he pointed at Charizard. This guy knows his body better than I do. If he feels something is wrong, he will stop on his own. And this guy. Zumu pointed at Greninja and continued, if you say that other people's Pokémon will be lazy, he won't. If he has a free training ground, he would like to practice 24 hours a day. Finally, in Yankiankian's speechless sighs, Zumu pointed at Dragonite. Look at him. He studies and trains at the same time. He wants to squeeze time into a sponge and squeeze out water with all his strength. So, I don't think it's a big problem. After Zumu finished speaking, he turned around and found that Yankiankian had left at some point. He looked puzzled and didn't understand what was going on. After leaving the simulation room, Yankiankian covered her heart and gasped heavily. I can't stand it. Zumu must have done it on purpose. Why is this guy so mean? If she stayed any longer, she was afraid that she would die on the spot. Chapter 83, Who told you I'm not short of money? Why is his Pokémon so strong from the beginning? His Pokémon can also train by itself. This is too much. Looking down at the 6 Pokeballs on her waist, Yankiankian took a deep breath and forced herself to calm down. She couldn't argue with Zumu. This guy must have done it on purpose. Gnashing her teeth and leaving the training hall, Yankiankian felt that she might not be able to sleep tonight. Now when she closed her eyes, she could only think of that unscrupulous guy Zumu, who showed off to her in a casual tone how powerful his Pokémon was. This is too much. The next day was another sunny day. Zumu also got up early and sent the 3 of them, Koga Ninja, to the training hall on the way to school. Then he explained with a serious face, Koga Ninja, you have to pay attention. Don't work too hard and don't tire yourself out. Training should be moderate. Take a rest when you are tired. I will let the staff here prepare food and drinks for you. Don't save money. Just eat and drink with confidence. Koga Ninja nodded, indicating that he understood. He stretched out his hand and gave Zumu a thumbs up, indicating that he was fine. Zumu looked at Charizard, thought about it, and still advised, you too. I won't worry about your health problems. The main thing is that Charizard, you should pay attention to the facilities here and don't damage them. Although this is not our home, it is still safe. You don't have to be too cautious. After that, Zumu took out his mobile phone and handed it to Dragonite. This is the phone I used before, you can use it first. I have downloaded and logged in the app you need. You can use it directly. You too, Dragonite. Don't be too distracted during training. It's not good if something goes wrong. After Zumu gave his instructions one by one, he felt that it was enough, so he got up and went to school. In the distance, Yankiankian, who had been watching Zumu's every move, was completely convinced. She felt that Zumu must have discovered her, otherwise he wouldn't say such pretentious words. If there was no one around, he wouldn't have to pretend like this. There was no need for Zumu to act like this without even an audience. Therefore, she thought that she must have been discovered by Zumu, so he deliberately said such pretentious words to her. Absolutely, this boy is very bad. With a cold snort, Yankiankian turned and left, riding her favorite motorcycle to go to school to work. An ordinary day began like this. After Zumu arrived in the classroom, the first thing he did was to take Liu Xiao's mobile phone and play with it. There was no way. His mobile phone had been given to Kuai long, and if he wanted to buy a new one, he had to wait until the lunch break at noon. So now Liu Xiao could only be wronged. As for homework, Liu Xiao, the little fat man, is quite reliable. He put today's homework on his desk long before Zumu came. Okay, well done, praise you. Zumu joked and handed the homework to the student committee. Seeing Zumu satisfied, Liu Xiao grinned and said, hee, it's just a small matter, as long as you are satisfied. As he said that, he rubbed Zumu's back table and stretched his head and said, Boss, I have a small question to ask you. Zumu didn't even raise his head. While browsing the latest news on his phone, he said, go ahead. Well, I went back yesterday and took the little Snorlax to the Alliance Hospital for a checkup. I didn't expect it to be like what you said. Then I quickly asked the doctor to prescribe a reasonable diet plan. Boss, can you help me with it? Zumu saw Liu Xiao took out a piece of paper with various diet plans densely written on it according to time. It was simply a super recipe. He took a rough look. In addition to the Pokémon food that needs to be eaten daily, The doctor also recommended Liu Xiao to feed the little Snorlax some tree fruits, like spicy cherry fruit, red apple, this kind of fruit with a strong special taste. There's nothing wrong with what the doctor prescribed. It's harder to control Snorlax's mouth than to kill him, so he chose these fruits with special flavors, which can actually effectively control Snorlax's desire to eat. Just don't be soft-hearted when the time comes. After getting Zumu's advice, Liu Xiao nodded quickly and said, "Thank you, boss. For the health of Snorlax, I will definitely not be soft-hearted." As he said that, he stood up and prepared to return to his seat to wait for the class bell to ring. Halfway through the walk, Liu Xiao returned the same way and came to Zumu again. "Boss, there's one more thing." Zumu was not impatient. Anyway, going to school was boring enough, and having a little fat boy whispering a few more words in his ear was also fun, you say. Seeing Zumu nod, Liu Xiao hurriedly said, "It's like this, our family has encountered some problems in business recently. We need to attend a meeting of the 5 northern provinces. One of the items is that each family needs to send a trainer to fight. The result of this battle will affect the business distribution of each family in the next year. The better the ranking of the family in the battle, the more initiative and advantage it has." So, Zumu understood. This is a lack of thugs, right? It means that these families need to meet every year and use the underground black boxing method to determine the profit plan for the next year. This matter is not a big problem. Zumu is the best at fighting. Don't worry, boss, I won't let you fight in vain. Although my father told me that he knows that you don't look down on our little money, our Liu family will do our best to meet the boss's conditions. Liu Xiao's words are very sincere. In their family's view, Zumu, a genius boy, who can defeat the top trainer at a young age, is definitely not short of money. Instead of talking about money with Zumu, it is better to talk about interests. We have a Snorlax in our family. It's a Pokémon from my great-grandfather's generation. He left behind a descendant last year. According to expert speculation, this little Snorlax is at least a king. What our family means is that if you are willing to help, then this little guy will be considered a reward, and we have found a suitable trainer for him. Zumu heard this and turned back to look at Liu Xiao in surprise. "How do you know I'm not short of money?" "Funny, right? Who told you I'm not short of money? I'm very short of money. Now I have 5 Pokémon, one of which is a glutton. The daily expenses are huge. But I'm kind enough to help you fight, but you want to give me a new foodie. Too much, right?" "Well, actually I'm not particularly interested in this little Snorlax. Helping you fight is no problem, but I think we can still talk about this reward." Zumu coughed dryly and prepared to make it clear to Liu Xiao that he wanted money, not foodies. Chapter 84. Another fight. Liu Xiao understood instantly when he heard Zumu say that. This was because he was dissatisfied with what he gave him. Smacking his lips, Liu Xiao hurriedly said, "Boss, I told you that you couldn't come to help us just for a little Snorlax, but my dad didn't believe it. I've thought about it. As long as you are willing to help, in addition to this little guy, our family will also give you the Snorlax training method passed down from our ancestors. And we guarantee that you can train the little Snorlax all the way to the king level." Zumu slapped his forehead. That's it. Needless to say, this guy definitely misunderstood. Since your family has the training method for Snorlax, how can your little Snorlax be fed properly? Zumu didn't continue to worry about the reward. There was no need. There was no point in talking about it anymore. As if he was so greedy. A little Snorlax with the qualifications of a king, coupled with a set of special training programs, is worth tens of millions. To be honest. If Zumu asked for more, it would be really tactless. Liu Xiao smiled awkwardly when he heard this, and scratched the back of his head with his hand. He explained embarrassedly, "The responsibility for this problem lies with me, mainly because I am not qualified to learn the training method passed down from our family. According to the rules, I need to become a rookie trainer before I can get in touch with these. So during this period, Snorlax has been with me, and my dad has only seen him a few times, which led to no one noticing this problem." Zumu curled his lips. "Is this a big family? Is this the richest man in Fangcheng?" "No way." "Are the rules and regulations so complicated, then, How important is this gathering of 5 provinces? No matter what, you can't give me so much reward. Since he promised Liu Xiao, Zhu Mu naturally wanted to understand the situation. Seeing Zhu Mu asking this, Liu Xiao laughed and said, "My dad said that a friend like you is worth this price. No matter what the result of the battle is, as long as you can come to help us, that's enough. Besides, our family also wants to find a suitable trainer for this Snorlax." After Liu Xiao said this, Zhu Mu couldn't be hypocritical anymore. It was clear that they just wanted to take this opportunity to make friends with him. As for whether there was money or not, the Liu family never cared. In general, Zhu Mu still made a profit in this matter. "Okay, then I promise you," Zhu Mu said, and the class bell rang suddenly. Liu Xiao happily ran back to his seat. He had completed the task assigned to him by his father. It's great that he doesn't have to be scolded when he goes back. Zhu Mu was worried that his wallet would be in trouble. Now there is another little glutton. It is definitely going to go bankrupt. As we all know, Snorlax is as difficult to raise as Pokémon like Ukira. Although Ukira's final evolution form is Bankira, its strength is a top existence that can compete with Dragonite, but this Pokémon is too expensive. The problem of feeding alone is enough to make most trainers give up. The reason is simple. Ukira eats ore. The rarer the ore he eats, the faster his strength will increase. The same goes for Snorlax, although this guy is not picky about food and can eat anything, unlike Ukira who only eats expensive rare minerals. But this can't stop Snorlax from eating. TSK. The more he thought about it, the more worried he became. Zhu Mu has begun to consider whether he should really help Liu Xiao. If things go wrong, the day when Snorlax arrives may be the day when Zhu Mu's wallet goes bankrupt. A few days later, it was Friday. After Zhu Mu went to the training hall to pick up the 3 guys, Koga Ninja, and returned home. Because the 3 of them now go to Hawaii Training Hall every day and train in the gravity simulation room for a whole day. Now they are also well known in the training hall. After several days of training, the effect has been significantly improved. The 3 guys are now able to move freely under 10 times gravity. Of course, they are still a little short of being able to cope with it. After all, there is not enough time. Zhu Mu said that he is very satisfied that they can achieve this in just a few days. "I'll take you to a place later, and if nothing unexpected happens, we may have a fight tomorrow." Saturday is a holiday, which happens to be the day for Liu Xiao's family to gather. Zhu Mu had already discussed it with Liu Xiao before, so he would naturally not break the appointment. After telling Greninja about the fight, the guy was really excited. "Cool. How strong is the opponent, little master?" Zhu Mu thought about it and said uncertainly, "Maybe there are stronger ones than you, or they may be about the same, probably just the king of heaven." The Liu family can invite Zhu Mu, so other families can naturally find others. Zhu Mu is not the only foreign aide. "Cool. No matter who the opponent is, I will definitely take them all down." After just a few days of training, Greninja is now in a state of overflowing confidence. Zhu Mu did not disturb him when he saw this. It is a good thing to have confidence, as long as you are not arrogant and blindly arrogant. Of course, even if you are really arrogant, what can you do? With Zhu Mu, Greninja is basically invincible at the same level. Even the Venerables have defeated more than one. Why can't you be a little arrogant? Okay, then you guys have a good rest tonight. We'll set off tomorrow morning. Dad, you'll have a good look at tomorrow's ranking match. Zhu Mu will definitely help our family make a splash. Liu Xiao was proudly boasting to his father Liu Tizu at home about how awesome Zhu Mu was. Apart from anything else, just the fact that Zhu Mu defeated Yanqian, a top trainer head-on, can already give us a rough idea of Zhu Mu's strength. Well, I didn't expect that there would be a young man in Fengcheng who could beat Qianqian. Tizu knew Yanqian, and he and Yanqian's father were of the same generation and old friends. Originally, Tizu meant that his niece Yanqian would take action, but who would have thought that Zhu Mu would show up halfway? After listening to Liu Xiao's story about Zhu Mu, the rich Liu Tizu said that he could try to make friends with this young man. This young man is probably an excellent trainer with a promising future. In this qualifying match, you must remember that no matter how Zhu Mu performs, You must not show disappointment or dissatisfaction with him. We are making friends. In my opinion, this gathering is definitely not as important as the friendship of a future strong man, Utizu said, and stretched out his big hand to pat his little fat boy's head. Don't say it. It feels really good. Dad, that's enough. My head is round because of you. I am so round because you have been doing it since I was a child. Chapter 85, Death Arena Battle. Boss, I'm here. The next morning, Liu Xiao arrived at Zumu's house at 7 o'clock on time, shouting at the top of his voice. Zumu opened the window speechlessly. Don't shout. Wait. Why didn't I realize before that this little fat guy's voice is so loud that it's terrifying? Mom, I'm going out for a while these 2 days to have a small competition. Zumu couldn't say that he was helping others fight underground black boxing, so he could only say that he was fighting a competition. But it's true. The gatherings held by several big families in the 5 northern provinces are to divide the interests, and the way to divide the interests is to find helpers for park. Of course, if you have a powerful person in your own family, you can also arrange it. Although it is an underground black boxing model, it seems to be a real competition. Well, be careful. When Zu's mother saw Liu Xiao downstairs, she already knew it, but she didn't say much, just smiled gently. Zumu nodded and agreed, and left the house with his backpack. After Zumu left, Zu's mother pouted and sat on the sofa. At this moment, the temperament she exuded was completely different from that of the middle-aged woman before. The pouting look made her look a little girlish. In addition, Zu's mother was not very old. If she dressed up exquisitely, some people would believe that she was Zumu's sister. This child has really grown up and has mixed up with these small families. Well, go ahead, the young eagle will always spread its wings. After muttering to herself, Zu's mother stood up, retracted the mysterious temperament that just flashed by, and turned into an ordinary mother again, and began to do housework. Let's go. Don't shout like this downstairs of my house next time. This is not your villa area. There are many neighbors around and it will disturb the people. Zumu went out and came to Liu Xiao's side and started to give instructions. Liu Xiao nodded blankly. He had never thought of these things. That's right, he couldn't think of them at all. Boss, the venue of this party is Fengshan City in our Liao province. After the party is over, we can just play there for a day. Soon, Liu Xiao regained his spirits and suggested to Zumu with a smile. Zumu said he didn't care, and spread his hands and said, no problem, just relax for a while. Bang! The Pokeball opened automatically, a red light flashed, and Dragonite suddenly jumped out. Ouch! Zumu, there is a gym in Fengshan City. Good guy. You know more than me, a trainer. Zumu slapped his forehead helplessly and nodded. Got it. Then he covered his face and put Dragonite back into the Pokeball. Boss, what's wrong? Liu Xiao asked in confusion. Zumu thought about it and decided to tell the truth. Anyway, it's not a big deal. What's there to hide? Nothing. Dragonite just reminded me that there is a gym in Fengshan City. Liu Xiao was shocked when he heard it. How could Dragonite know this? It can also take the initiative to jump out of the Pokeball to remind the trainer. Sure enough, Boss Zumu's Pokémon are not ordinary Pokémon. Feeling deeply in his heart, Liu Xiao said with a click of his tongue, there is a gym in Fengshan City. What? Boss, are you going to challenge it? Yes, I'll go and take a look. Zumu did not deny it and nodded directly. Liu Xiao was puzzled again after hearing this. No, boss. You want to challenge the gym? Are you preparing to participate in the next Tanwang challenge? It must be said that Liu Xiao's little round head is still very smart, probably because his father often plays with it. From Zumu's challenge to the Tanwang challenge, it must be said that this kid can associate it well. I am indeed going to participate in the Tanwang challenge, but not this year. Zumu sighed when he saw Liu Xiao's shocked face. You have known me for so long. Why do you still look like you have never seen the world? You make a fuss about something. How can you still get along with me if this goes on? Glancing at Liu Xiao with disdain, seeing him constantly stroking his chest with his hand to soothe his restless heart, Zumu expressed his dissatisfaction. This kid's psychological endurance is still a little bit poor. How can he be friends with a genius like me? Liu Xiao was secretly relieved when he heard Zoom Yu say that he would not participate in this competition. Fortunately, Boss Zoom Yu should not be that strong yet, otherwise I really don't deserve to stand by his side, not even worthy of being his younger brother. Liu Xiao, who was secretly thankful in his heart, hurriedly said, "It's okay, boss, we are still young. It's not bad to use 2 years to prepare, and it's not bad to participate in the next King Challenge. I believe you will definitely get the top 3 excellent results by then." After Liu Xiao finished speaking, he found that Zoom Yu looked at him with a weirder look. He scratched his head in confusion, asking himself if he had said something wrong. Zoom Yu was silent for a long time and sighed. He turned around and got into the car sent by the Yu family, and whispered, "Not the next one, nor the next one. I want to participate in this one." 2 months later, bang! Zoom Yu slammed the car door shut, and Liu Xiao stood there in a daze. He felt like a clown. I didn't chat with Zoom Yu on the same channel from beginning to end. It's so embarrassing. Hello, Uncle Liu. When Zoom Yu came to the backyard of Liu Xiao's house, he saw Liu Xiao's father and greeted him politely. How he and Liu Xiao quarreled was their business. After all, Liu Tizu was an elder, and Zoom Yu had to give him enough face. Haha, Zoom Yu, right. Good boy. You are really a good-looking man. You are so powerful at such a young age. You are indeed a dragon and a phoenix among men. As he said that, Liu Tizu habitually pulled Liu Xiao over, put his big hand on Liu Xiao's head and coiled it up. While coiling it, he wanted to pat it twice. Liu Xiao grinned. Unlike this kid in my family, who is chubby and has a corrupt belly at such a young age, it's not a good thing to see him in the future. Zoom Yu couldn't respond to this. He could only smile modestly, then gave Liu Xiao a sympathetic look, turned around and followed Liu Tizu to the helicopter. To be honest, as the richest man in Fengcheng, Liu Tizu's private helicopter is also very expensive. Liu Xiao was able to know Zoom Yu's car to school because he had this thing at home, so he had the energy to learn about it. Otherwise, who can afford to buy it? Who can have the time to see this thing? Uncle Liu, what is the mode of the game at the party tonight? I want to know in advance. On the way, Zoom Yu was idle and didn't play with his mobile phone, so he just found a topic to chat with Liu Tizu. When Liu Tizu heard Zoom Yu asking about the party, he hurriedly said, "This should be considered an arena battle. Both parties can bring up to 6 Pokémon, and then fight in the arena without any rules. The game ends until one trainer dies or loses the ability to resist." Chapter 86. What is Inhumanity? Zoom Yu was a little surprised when he heard this. Liu Xiao had not told him the specific rules before. Although he knew it was an underground black boxing, he didn't expect the rules to be so cruel. "So, you can directly attack the opponent's trainer, right?" Liu Tizu nodded. "Yes, you don't have to kill the opponent, as long as you defeat all the opponent's Pokémon or make the opponent unable to resist, you can win." When he said this, a trace of guilt flashed in Liu Tizu's eyes. "It seems that Liu Xiao didn't tell you clearly before. This is our Liu family's fault. You didn't know the specific rules in advance. So if you want to quit now, your uncle won't blame you." Liu Tizu did forget to tell Liu Xiao to tell Zoom Yu the rules of the Death Ring. He didn't plot against Zoom Yu, he just simply forgot, because they are too familiar with these rules, so familiar that they are used to it. There will be meetings every year, and this Death Ring competition will be held every year. Liu Tizu did forget to introduce the rules to Zoom Yu in advance. That's why he said the last sentence. If Zoom Yu wants to quit now, he will never stop him. After all, it was not appropriate to let a young man who was about the same age as his son fight for the Liu family. If Zoom Yu was not really too strong, Liu Tizu would rather spend money to hire someone than let Zoom Yu take risks. "It's okay, I want to try." Zoom Yu's face was calm. It was just a little dangerous. Not a big problem. He had seen dead people, not to mention a Death Ring competition. Besides, the indiscriminate and ruleless fighting between elves was simply what Zoom Yu envied and wanted to try the most in his previous life. This time there was a chance. Zoom Yu didn't want to miss it. Liu Tizu saw that Zoom Yu had no intention of getting off the plane. His eyes were sincere, as if he was not forcing himself. He laughed and said, "Okay, You are worthy of being the top talent in our Feng Cheng. Uncle is convinced by your courage. He laughed loudly, grabbed Liu Xiao, and began to habitually touch his son's head. Don't worry, if there is any dangerous situation, I will stop the game in time. Yu Tizu mainly wanted to make friends with Zumyu, not to harm him. Naturally, such a dangerous thing would not be allowed to happen. Zumyu smiled and said, then I'll have to trouble you, uncle, to keep an eye on me. After all, this must be my first time participating in such a battle, and I am indeed a little unfamiliar. Humility makes people progress, and humble people can survive longer. Zumyu knows this truth very well. You can't be arrogant, otherwise you will be stabbed. Don't worry. After chatting for a while on the plane, the group arrived at their destination, Fengshan City. Looking at the towering and majestic city wall in front of him, Zumyu was a little fascinated. What kind of ingenious craftsmanship can create such a city wall? This is the economic center of the north, Fengshan? Zumyu was a little shocked when he came to the long-famous Fengshan City for the first time. To be honest, he is not new to the world. In his previous life, Zumyu had also been to big cities such as Beijing and Shanghai, and even climbed the Great Wall of China several times. But now, he was shocked by a city wall in Fengshan City. The huge city wall, which is 100 meters high, stands tall, and the wall is rugged, showing his old history to every tourist who arrives in this city. Boy, are you shocked? Yu Tizu smiled and walked to Zumyu. When I first came here with my grandfather when I was a child, I was also shocked by this city wall. My grandfather said that this city wall is older than our Liu family. After smacking his lips and sighing a few times, Yu Tizu took out his ID card, handed it to the soldier at the gate, and led Zumyu and his party into the city. After passing the city gate, the inside and outside of the city are simply two worlds. Although Fengshan City is well connected, it always feels a little less worldly. Next to the main road is a dense forest, giving people a sense of comfort in nature. But it is different inside the city. The Northern Trade Center is no joke. In Fengshan City, there are high-rise buildings everywhere, rail transit, and a prosperous group. To be honest, Zumyu really felt at this moment that this city wall was like a big lock, isolating the inside and outside of the city, dividing it into two worlds. The outside of the city is relatively primitive, while the inside of the city is a model of a modern city. Let's go. Let's go to where we're staying first. Although Zumyu was full of emotion, he was definitely not a bumpkin. He just glanced at it roughly and then retracted his gaze. Yu Tizu saw Zumyu's indifferent face, and was a little surprised. Without saying much, he directly invited everyone to go to the small house he had just bought some time ago to rest for a while. Then Zumyu saw what the rich people called a small house. How small is it? A 120-story building. Yu Tizu directly bought 20 floors of it as his own mansion. Is this related to small? Nima? Zumyu was no longer able to complain. In the eyes of a local tyrant like Liu Tizu, as long as it is not a villa, it is called a small house. Okay, son, take Zumyu to live on the first floor. Go get to know the room first. Don't go back and get lost. Damn, when I first bought this broken house, I couldn't find the toilet when I got up in the middle of the night. Yu Tizu and Zumyu have been together for a long time, and his true nature has gradually begun to reveal itself. He is not a literary person, and it is unfair for him not to swear for so long. Sitting on the sofa, Yu Tizu held a chic cigar in his mouth and began to contact the bosses of other families. Liu Xiao agreed and led Zumyu to the 110th floor. Your family is so rich, why don't you ask a venerable to help? Zumyu and Liu Xiao left the crowd, and then he asked the doubts in his heart. I always thought that Liu Xiao's family was just a small local family, but I didn't expect it to be so rich and inhumane. Indeed, Zumyu was wrong this time. He thought Liu Xiao was on the first floor, but he didn't expect this guy to be on the 5th floor. He was about to be on the same floor as himself. Secretly surprised, Zumyu decided to have a good chat with Liu Xiao to see what this guy had not explained clearly. This kind of family fight is a private interest, and it is not officially allowed. So it's not easy to find those well-known venerables. It's just right to freeze the strength at the peak trainer. Liu Xiao said with a wry smile on his face. Boss, I didn't know my dad was so powerful. Really? He was afraid that Zumu wouldn't believe him, so he explained, I knew my dad was an illegitimate child and had been living a hard life outside when he was young. It wasn't until my grandfather took power in the family that he was brought back. Because he was the only male in my father's generation, he became the head of the Liu family. But because my father is not strong enough, he is just a face-giving head, you know. Chapter 87, Untitled. Zumu rolled his eyes and asked again, so, your uncle's life is not as glorious as it seems? Liu Xiao nodded repeatedly. He said secretly, that's right, that's why my father is so strict with me, always hoping that I can become a strong trainer and make him proud. But who told me that I don't have talent in this area? Maybe I have it, but I haven't discovered it yet. Anyway, his life is not easy now, and he has so many things that he can't sleep. Liu Xiao didn't say how important this party was to the Liu family and Liu Tizu. Zumu didn't ask this either. Some things are self-evident. Since Liu Tizu is having a hard time now, everyone naturally knows the rest. Well, why are you offering such a high reward this time? Zumu smiled. A little Snorlax plus a training plan passed down from the Liu family's ancestors. This is something that no amount of real money can buy. Asking Zumu to help fight like this, isn't the price too high? Hey, boss, you know, even if I don't tell you that this reward is not just to thank you, but mainly because my father has high hopes for you. Liu Xiao didn't hide it and told the truth. Second-generation people like him are definitely rare. Zumu followed Sirona some time ago and also saw many second-generation people with very strong backgrounds. Although Liu Xiao may not be as good as those people in terms of family strength, when it comes to dealing with people, Liu Xiao can beat those second-generation people by 100 streets. Okay, but there is one thing I'm still curious about. With your family situation, shouldn't you live in Fengcheng? How can you live in a small city when you are so rich? Liu Tizu is not without real estate in Fengcheng. He can take Liu Xiao to Fengcheng to go to school, and Liu Xiao can get a better education, right? Well, my father said that it is better to be the head of a chicken than the tail of a phoenix. Liu Xiao blushed and answered a little embarrassedly. Seeing Zumu's face full of suspicion, Liu Xiao knew that he could not hide it anymore. Just say what you want to say, and directly said, the Liu family was arranged to Fengcheng because of the previous gatherings. As expected, after he said this, Zumu understood everything. Okay, now that he understood it, Zumu felt at ease. I don't care about anything else. Didn't you ask me to come here just to fight? I'll just be responsible for fighting well. After saying that, Zumu directly chose a room to enter, quietly waiting for the evening gathering to come. Boy, these families are the big families with names and surnames in our 5 northern provinces, the Lin family in Liao province, the Zhao family, the Chen family in Heilongjian province. Liu Tizu looked at the high-ranking big men presiding over the scene with an envious look. At the same time, he whispered to Zumu, although he looked inhuman, in fact, he was just a small local tyrant. The Liu family was not worth mentioning in front of these people, otherwise, they would not be exiled to Fengcheng every year to be a small local tyrant. He was also unwilling in his heart. If possible, who doesn't want to be high and mighty? Relying on the capital of the Liu family, Liu Tizu can hold on for 3 to 5 years, but he can't hold on for 10 to 20 years. Just like this, he gets nothing from the gatherings every year. Sooner or later, he will be suppressed to bankruptcy, or even have nothing. This time he found Zumu, not because he really hopes that Zumu can create some miracles and help him become a blockbuster and beat the heroes. The main thing is to make friends with Zumu, a genius. He hopes to see Zumu grow up in the future and become a friend of the Liu family. He can take care of Liu Xiao, the little fat boy. The big guys ate and drank, and the ring fight officially began. Everyone, this year our Chen family will still send my youngest son, Chen Fengxian. Ha ha ha, Lao Chen, you are really confident. Lao Chen, you can't do it. I brought a peerless genius this year. Although this kid is only 20 years old, his strength is definitely the top among the top trainers. Just like the standard routine of fighting black boxing, the big guys must brag about how awesome their boxers are. Seeing the most popular middle-aged and elderly people on the field boasting with cigars in their mouths, Utizu felt bad. Zumu didn't care whether it works or not. Let's talk with fists. What's the use of saying more now? Liu Xiao, would there be bets when we play the game later? Zumu suddenly thought of a good idea to solve his financial crisis. He turned his eyes and asked the fat man next to him. When Liu Xiao heard Zumu ask this, he hurriedly said, "Yes, there is a betting over there, which is jointly opened by major families. Our Liu family also has 1% of the shares." Zumu nodded. "It's enough to have it. Let's do something big." The next players in the game are all top trainers, so Zumu just regards this as a rehearsal before participating in the King Challenge. Since he knows the approximate strength of his opponent, Zumu is still very confident. Then, since he is confident, why not do something? Liu Xiao's eyes lit up when he heard it. "Are you sure?" The eldest brother stopped yelling. When Liu Xiao thought of the money, he became full of desire. The two little green bin eyes were full of greed. "Call your father to come with us. Let's plan something later. Find a suitable excuse, and you can also bet more." After Zumu finished speaking, Liu Tizu, who was standing beside him, had already come up. Facts have proved that the excellent genes of the old Liu family are inherited from their ancestors. The father and son instantly became cats that smelled fishy smells when they heard about money. "Boy, are you sure it's okay? If you are sure, Uncle will play with you once." Liu Tizu has his own calculations in his mind. He naturally won't be like Liu Xiao, thinking about small-scale calculations. If he wants to do it, he wants to do a big one. This coincides with Zumu's idea. "No problem, but after the matter is done, Uncle, I want 1/3. Zumu opened his mouth and asked for a price directly. Although Liu Tizu is a profiteer, he is also reasonable in doing things. This vote cannot be done without Zumu, so it is reasonable for Zumu to ask for 1/3. "Okay, that's settled. I'll take care of it later." Liu Tizu gritted his teeth and made the decision. With Zumu's promise, he would definitely take a big gamble. After being suppressed for so many years, if he doesn't save face once, Liu Tizu would have lived in vain. Besides, even if Zumu fails and really loses the game, Liu Tizu is not someone who can't afford to lose. According to the current level of suppression, their Liu family will definitely fall within 10 years. Rather than being slaughtered like pork, it is better to take advantage of Zumu, a newborn calf, and make a charge. Liu Tizu looks careless, but in fact he is not stupid at all. Chapter 88, Shut Up, Grandson. While Liu Tizu and Zumu were discussing important matters, the order of the battles had already been decided. According to the rules of previous years, they would take the players from the 8 strongest families last year as seeded players. Each player would play against players from 3 small families. After winning all 3 games, the remaining 8 would compete in the qualifying battle. The simpler the rules, the more cruel it would be for these small families. "Boy, our luck is a bit bad." Seeing the schedule, Liu Tizu's old face relaxed a little. Their Liu family is like this every year, being regarded as the weakest family and being the first to face last year's 8th place. Therefore, Zumu's opponent in this round is the youngest son of the head of the Chen family, last year's 8th place, Chen Fengxian. This guy has some strength. Last year, he was just preparing for the King Challenge, so his strength is not at the peak. This year, this guy has collected 16 gym badges, and his spirit has been polished to the extreme, just waiting for the challenge to start. He was 8th last year, and he will be even stronger this year. "Boy, are you confident?" Liu Tizu's face was a little solemn. To be honest, he would rather Zumu go against the top few last year than let Zumu fight this Chen Fengxian. No, this kid is too evil. He has participated in banquets for 3 consecutive years and fought for the Chen family. His strength changes a lot every year, but in just 3 years, he has completed the leap from an outstanding trainer to a peak trainer. Go according to the plan, I have no problem. Zumu doesn't care what Liu Tizu thinks. His mind is full of small money now. Just a peak trainer. Isn't Yang Qianqian also a peak trainer preparing for the King Challenge? Zumu is different and has beaten her. It's not a big problem. Just do it. Seeing that Zumu's expression did not change, Liu Tizu could only force himself to calm down. He even secretly blamed himself for not being as good as a child. He was so impatient. It was outrageous. The battle began, and the first player from the Lin family last year took the lead. Their family sent a muscular middle-aged man who looked to be over 30 years old. He must have participated in the King of Kings challenge many times but never got a place in the top 3, so he was stuck at this level. However, despite being stuck, the strength of this middle-aged muscular man is indeed not bad. During the death battle in the ring, this man directly used the Hell Roll with his strange power. He used his flesh and blood to fully perform the Hell Roll, pressed the opposing trainer to the ground and threw him to the ground. With screams, everyone knew that the winner of this game would be this middle-aged muscular man if nothing unexpected happened. The game was played without suspense for 3 consecutive games, and the muscular man made a perfect curtain call and defended the honor of the top 8. In the next few games, the top 8 last year also won. There was no upset. It can be seen that these big families have control over this kind of arena deathmatch game and monopolize resources. The top 7 of the top 8 have been decided, and the next one is the much anticipated Chen Fengxian. This kid was only 19 years old last year, but he achieved what many trainers could not achieve in their lifetime. This year, I wonder how much his strength will improve. Chen family, Chen Fengxian. After going on stage, Chen Fengxian stood alone, looking at the people below with an arrogant look in his eyes. The next 3 opponents are just appetizers. They can't arouse his interest and desire to fight at all. Chen Fengxian's goal is to be the first. Yu family, Zoom Yu walked onto the ring with his neck shaking, and after the staff locked the ring, he smiled cynically. This kid looks lazy. Is he the helper found by the Yu family? Chen Fengxian's father was chatting with the big men of several other families in the stands. Although he was talking about Zoom Yu, his implication was to let everyone take a good look at how outstanding his son, Chen Legui, is. Chen Legui, if you want to show off your son, just say so. We can't afford to lose. That's right, Chen Legui, you really gave birth to a good son. Wow, I can't envy you enough. Giving birth to a son is really a science. I just don't know how you, Chen Legui, gave birth to this son when you are nearly 50 years old. Several big men joked while looking at the ring indifferently. Although they felt sour in their hearts, they still had to see it. These big men were still looking forward to how strong this little monster of the Chen family was. Just wait and see. My son's excellence is something you can't envy. Chen Legui looked smug and raised his head proudly. He looked at the people around him with his nose and continued, look at the kid that the Yu family found. He will be beaten by my son in less than 3 minutes. He was just bragging casually, and he didn't have much ill will towards the Yu family and Zoom Yu. But the speaker was unintentional, but the listener was intentional. Utizu, who had been hiding in the dark and paying attention to all this, heard his words and knew that his chance had come. It's my turn to perform. Overjoyed, Utizu jumped out directly. Then grandson, shut up. He just opened his mouth and sprayed. Utizu doesn't want face or anything like that. He only wants one thing, that is, interests. Only the interests in hand are the key to whether the Yu family can continue. As for etiquette and face, sorry, I am a rough man. Asshole, nonsense. If your son can beat Zoom Yu in 3 minutes, I will eat shit upside down. You are not shouting enough every day. Come on, I will see how powerful your son is now, so that you can blow it out. Cursing, Utizu looked like he was in a rage. His face was red and his neck was thick. Because he yelled hard, the blue veins on his neck were exposed, and he looked ferocious, and for a time he almost intimidated these big guys. However, a big boss is still a big boss after all. If Utizu can really intimidate him like this, then he is not worthy of sitting in this position. Chen Legui reacted quickly and shouted angrily, Liu family kid is rude. Do you have the right to speak here? Utizu was not afraid at all, and retorted with his neck stiff, I am the head of the Yu family. Why don't I have the right to speak? Chen Legui was irritated by Utizu's unyielding appearance, and he couldn't breathe and choked himself to cough. You old thing will not live for a few more years, so I won't bully you. I'm going to say this today. Zoom Yu will win. I'm going to bet all the assets of the Yu family. Here are all kinds of certificates, worth 300 million. Just ask Liu Legui. Do you dare to accept it? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89, Kill Mega Land Shark in seconds. At the beginning, Utizu said with his neck stiff, throwing a stack of Liu family's asset certificates from various places on the table of the opening staff. The bigwigs present didn't care about Chen Legui's reaction at this time. They quickly looked at each other. But, too good. The Liu family has rich assets and belongs to a strong old family. It's just that the descendants have not lived up to expectations in recent years and have been suppressed by these bigwigs. Speaking of foundation, Utizu can smash 300 million at once. This is the foundation. They have been embezzling these for a long time. It was not easy to do it openly before, so they could only suppress the Liu family secretly. Now the opportunity has come. Chen Legui also patted his chest quickly to make his breathing as smooth as possible. "You family boy, don't regret it," he said to Liu Tizu. Not to regret it, but he was actually ecstatic in his heart. Chen Fengxian is his son, and he knows his strength best. In all aspects of the top trainer, Chen Fengxian is not the best, but he is definitely outstanding. Even if he participates in this year's King of Heaven challenge, he will definitely get a place. Now Liu Tizu is obviously unable to suppress his temper. He has been suppressed by himself and others for many years. The new and old hatreds are put together and he is directly angry. Such good opportunities are rare. Liu Tizu gritted his teeth and looked at Chen Legui, his face full of disdain. He looked like he was sure to win. Only ghosts will regret it. As he said, his eyes unconsciously glanced at the ring. This subtle expression was directly seen by several big men. Immediately, they winked at Chen Legui. "Take it." "This must be taken." Utizu, this fool, is definitely not sure in his heart. Then, Chen Legui fell into the trap. Without saying a word, he slapped the table with his big hand, meaning that it was a final decision. Next, it depends on his son Chen Fengxian. It seems that the Liu family seems to have great confidence in you. Seeing the scene in the stands, Chen Fengxian raised a smile at the corner of his mouth and said slowly. Zumu smiled friendly. "I don't know either." Pretending to be innocent, Zumu looked at the referee outside the ring. The referee didn't waste any words and waved his hand to signal the start of the game. Greninja, Charizard. Zumu threw out 2 Pokeballs the moment the referee waved his hand, then jumped onto Charizard's back. On the other side, Chen Fengxian was not polite either. The rule of the ring death match is that there are no rules, and you must use all means to become the last one standing. Griffin, Crocodile. Similarly, he also chose to release his 2 main pets and keep the other Pokémon as backup. In this kind of unregulated battle, ordinary trainers will not easily expose all 6 of their Pokémon, because the area is so large. Even if you summon all 6 Pokémon, it may not be effective. Instead, the trainer will lose his composure because he has no time to command. Therefore, they usually use the method of summoning 2 or 3 Pokémon to consume the enemy first, defeat the opponent's living forces as much as possible, and consume them to death bit by bit. Greninja, Bond Transformation. Charizard, Mega Evolution. Zumu was not polite at all. In this battle where he could die at any time, he did not have the slightest contempt and went all out. Seeing that both of Zumu's Pokémon began to evolve and transform, Chen Fengxian was stunned for a moment, and soon made her own Garchomp Mega Evolve. Garcho Mega Evolution. Tyranitar Water Cannon. Tyranitar probed and interfered with the opponent, while Garchomp used Dragon Dance to strengthen as soon as it evolved. This was Chen Fengxian's standard tactic. He relied on this move to win the 8th place last year by defeating the strong with the weak. This year, he came to win the championship. However, Zumu was not disturbed by Tyranitar's water cannon. Although he was on Charizard's back, it did not affect Charizard's actions at all. Use Dragon Wave to stop the water cannon, Greninja Shadow Clone Technique, and then Water Spiral Shuriken. Zumu's Greninja and Charizard have also experienced many battles with him. Although their tactics are not perfect, they are well trained. Hearing Zumu's order, The two Pokémon started without hesitation. Charizard used Dragon Wave to spray blue energy from its mouth, intercepting the water cannon in the air. At the same time, Greninja quickly formed a seal, and then dozens of Spiral Shuriken were instantly released, heading straight for Garchomp, who was using Dragon Dance. Although only one is the real one, Garchomp should not be careless. Use Protect. It should be said that Greninja's Shadow Clone technique has definitely deceived many people. Almost every trainer who saw this move for the first time would subconsciously think that these Spiral Shuriken were phantoms. Forcibly stopping the Dragon Dance that was halfway through, Garchomp quickly used Protect and held up a light green protective shield. Then he continued to accumulate energy in his mouth, preparing to use Dragon Stars to attack Charizard. Soon, Garchomp knew he was wrong, and it was an outrageous mistake. Charizard X had the Dragon attribute, so it stands to reason that his Dragon Stars were well prepared. But the problem was that Greninja's Shadow Clone, the protection only blocked the first two Spiral Water Shurikens, but not the rest. Soon, he tasted the price, and the Spiral Water Shurikens with huge explosive power exploded directly. The Water-type attack was fatal to him, almost instantly. Garchomp's physical strength was exhausted, but the worst was yet to come, because he had previously accumulated energy in his mouth to prepare a Dragon Star's move to counterattack. As a result, because he was attacked, the Dragon Stars could not be launched and exploded directly in his mouth. The Dragon-type energy backfired and acted on Garchomp, who was originally a Dragon type, and the power doubled. Boom boom boom. A series of explosions sounded, and Garchomp fell directly. He took a last hateful look at Greninja, and then lost consciousness. In less than 10 seconds, Chan Fengxian lost a general, which was a little hard for him to accept. The people in the stands were even more stunned. Zumu was so strong? What the hell were those special-shaped water shurikens just now? Chan Fengxian's trump card elf was killed in seconds? Who is this kid? How come I haven't heard of him before? I thought he was a passerby that Liu Tizu casually pulled over. A strong sense of shock arose in everyone's hearts, and Chan Langnui angrily pounded the table with his fists. He comforted himself. It's okay, it's just an elf. This time, Zumu was lucky. Chan Fengxian can definitely turn the tables. Chapter 90. Make a million with a single blow. Chan Fengxian was stunned after his main force was knocked out in 1 second. However, realizing that this was a competition, he had to bite the bullet and release his remaining 4 Pokémon, all standing in front of him to prevent Zumu from suddenly attacking next. Who on earth are you? You can actually defeat my Garchomp. Chan Fengxian no longer dared to underestimate Zumu. His main force was knocked out in 1 blow, and he almost lost his proud trump card. However, Zumu was too lazy to pay attention to him. Seeing Chan Fengxian release all the Pokémon, he smiled indifferently. He was anxious. Greninja, Spiral Water Shuriken, blast him. There was no need for fancy tricks at this time. The strongest of Chan Fengxian's remaining 5 Pokémon was only at the peak of the king. And after the Bond transformation, Greninja was already at the early stage of the master. Just crush him with strength. Charizard, don't be idle. Come on. Heat Wind. Dragonite, come out. Use Reverse Scale. After releasing Dragonite, Zumu just started the general attack. Facing Zumu's strong attack, although Chan Fengxian tried his best to resist, it was still ineffective. The suppression of strength and the gap in the level of trainers completely put Chan Fengxian in a passive state. If nothing unexpected happens, he will be gone. In the stands, Liu Tizu clenched his fists and yelled excitedly, Chan Langgui, you are doomed. Zumu's odds are 1-to-1, which means that the 300 million alliance coins that Liu Tizu suppressed will soon double to 600 million. Even if 1/3 is given to Zumu, the remaining 200 million is pure income. Several big men looked bitter. What kind of shit luck did Liu Tizu have? Where did he get this strange boy? Humphrey. Chan Langgui snorted coldly, and his beard was shaking with anger. I didn't expect that he would be tricked by Liu Tizu, an uneducated fool. What a shame. Who is this Zumu? Check his background for me. On the side, a big man of the Lin family whispered to his men to check Zumu's situation. He was calm on the surface, but he had another calculation in his mind. All the families from the 5 northern provinces were present, so he couldn't just turn his face. However, If he played tricks, in the eyes of the head of the Lin family, Utezu was just a child. The other big guys had the same idea. They almost contacted their chiefs at the same time and asked people to start inquiring about Zumyu. 3 minutes later, Zumyu defeated all the elves of Chen Fengxian and won. Looking at Chen Fengxian kneeling on the ground in despair, although Zumyu was too lazy to say a word to him, his sunny and friendly smile was still overflowing on his face. This smile, you lose. Actually, you are very good. I hope you don't get discouraged. We will meet again in the next King of Heaven challenge. Like a caring big brother, Zumyu actually came to Chen Fengxian and spoke. Chen Fengxian didn't know the reason. He stared at Zumyu in a daze, not knowing what to say. He thought Zumyu would start to humiliate him, but he didn't expect Zumyu not only didn't say anything wildly, but seemed to be comforting. Chen Fengxian was a little puzzled, but he soon understood, because Zumyu continued, okay, from the beginning of our fight until I said that nonsense, it took exactly 3 minutes. Young man, aren't you going to defeat me in 3 minutes? What a coincidence. It seems that the person who was dealt with in 3 minutes is you. So it only took you 3 minutes, which made me pay so much attention before. It's really a waste of my brain cells. I actually took your idiot's words seriously. Alas. Shaking his head and sighing, Zumyu killed the heart. This Chen Fengxian is too arrogant. His strength is actually not that good. Isn't it just mastering a mega evolution and having a king-level fierce land shark? Apart from this, what else does he have? What is there to be proud of? Zumyu thought that even Yang Qianqian might be stronger than this Chen Fengxian. He really didn't look down on Chen Fengxian, but mainly because the boy's every move before almost had the words "I am a strong man" written on his face. As a result, he was easily defeated by Zumyu. That's it. This huge sense of contrast made Zumyu really unhappy. Even if he won, Zumyu was a little unhappy, because he was almost intimidated by this rookie, and really thought he was some powerful guy. So this is the strength of the genius you're talking about? After walking down the ring, Zumyu looked back at Liu Tizu. Forget it. Let's talk about the division of the spoils. A drop of cold sweat flowed from Liu Tizu's forehead. Zumyu was really arrogant, but he was arrogant in a good way. Zumyu was really awesome. He defeated the peerless genius in your eyes in an ordinary way, and then calmly asked, "That's it, good guy, the king of forcing. This Zumyu deserves it." There are 2 more games later. You have to take over Chen Fengxian to defend the ring. If you win all of them, you can enter the quarterfinals, Liu Tizu said, and his eyes glanced at the big guys in the distance. He always felt that things didn't seem to be that simple. Would these big guys easily admit defeat? Just like that, they were cheated of 300 million by themselves, and then shut up obediently. Something is wrong. Zumyu nodded, drank a sip of water, and returned to the ring. The next 2 opponents were also at the level of top trainers, but their strength was just so-so. One of the trump cards was a mid-level King of Heaven, and the other was a late-level King of Heaven, a giant claw mantis. Zumyu pushed forward directly. At this time, people really realized how strong Zumyu was. "Hello, Mr. Zumyu." Just as Zumyu walked off the ring to take a break and wait for the quarterfinals to start, a middle-aged man in formal clothes came to his side and greeted him with a humble attitude. "Sir, I wonder what kind of reward the Yu family has prepared for you to participate in this competition? If possible, I am willing to provide 5 times. Are you here to poach people?" Zumyu smiled. "Great, just worried about making a big profit and scaring away these fat sheep." In the blink of an eye, you delivered it to your door. Now it's 100 million. The money that the Yu family won before gave me 1/3. You said you would give me 5 times. That's fine. If you give me 500 million, I will lose immediately. How about that? The middle-aged man obviously couldn't make his own decision. After getting Zumyu's reply, he took out his mobile phone and started to contact the big boss behind him. Then several big men started to talk. Zumyu is a small native of Fengcheng, but his appetite is really big. Let's agree to him first. Let's crush the Yu family first, and then deal with this small native. That's right. A mere top trainer actually dares to ask for 500 million. It's simply a dream. If he has the life to get the money,
This kid must also have the life to spend it. Chapter 91. He is the son-in-law of the chief minister of Western Europe. Chen Fengxian fell, and Zhu Yu's next opponent was the Lin family's contestant. Yu Tizu's excitement had not yet faded, and he looked at Zhu Yu with expectation. Just based on Zhu Yu's move just now, his strength has been proved. The Liu family, in this gathering, has a chance. Clenching his fists, Yu Tizu wanted to slap his fat boy twice. Good boy, why didn't you tell me earlier that you have such a classmate? It's all because of my vegetarianism and Buddhist practice. Otherwise, how could you have such a good classmate? Yu Tizu kept muttering in his heart, as if he saw the glory of the Liu family reappear in his hands. On the ring, Zhu Yu looked at the Lin family's contestant and smiled charitably. That's right, this smile is charitable, and even a little bit of pity. The game begins. The referee gave an order, and the game began. The Lin family's contestant looked proud and said, "Boy, you're done." It was a normal provocation, and no one felt that there was anything wrong with this sentence, including Liu Tizu off the court. At this time, the big boss of the Lin family suddenly stood up. He pointed at Liu Tizu and coughed lightly. "Tizu, you won a lot just now." Yu Tizu didn't understand why Zhu Yu had shown such a strong fighting power. If nothing unexpected happened, he would not accept the large bet he placed on Zhu Yu at the opening. But what did old man Lin mean by this sentence now? Did he feel bad about losing just now and wanted to win it back? The Lin family is indeed the family with the largest share among the dealers this time. It is not unreasonable for him to want to win it back, but the problem is that Zhu Yu is so strong, and the players that old man Lin found obviously can't beat Zhu Yu. Why does he still do this? Did he deliberately give himself money? A series of questions arose in Liu Tizu's mind, and he couldn't help but look at Zhu Yu in confusion. Zhu Yu also turned around and gave Liu Tizu a reassuring look. Seeing Zhu Yu's response, Yu Tizu no longer hesitated. "It's not a big problem, just do it." "Why, old Lin, you haven't lost enough, and you still want to continue with me?" The four words arrogant and domineering are the most appropriate to describe Liu Tizu's current state. He raised his head arrogantly, with a look of disdain on his face. Seeing this, old Lin also laughed. "Are you kidding? I have secretly bribed your thugs, and the high price is 500 million. You, young man, are still too naive." "That's right, I think Shen Kun of our Lin family will win this round. How about we play?" Yu Tizu heard this and agreed without hesitation. "Okay, is there anyone who doesn't agree to send money?" "Okay, if you don't accept it, we will continue." He looked at old Lin arrogantly, and threw the bank card with 300 million alliance coins that he had just won on the table. 300 million, if you win, I will pay you back, but if you lose, tut tut tut. 300 million, even if it is shared by each family, it is still a large expense. If Liu Tizu wins again this time, it will be a full 600 million alliance coins. The big families in the 5 northern provinces will probably be hit hard. Don't say that everyone is rich and powerful, and they don't care about this little money. They are indeed rich, but in fact, most of their money is real estate or family assets. The money from the opening of the market is the working capital of the big guys. The opening of the market at this gathering can be regarded as an extra income for the big guys, which was originally a pocket money. Unexpectedly, Yu Tizu directly gambled Zhu Yu with all his money, taking away 300 million from the big guys at one time. The result can be imagined. This is also the reason why Mr. Lin promised Zhu Yu to pay him 500 million in advance. Face is one aspect. The main reason is that they really want to win it back. As for Zhu Yu's money, they won't give it. "Okay, 300 million, I'll accompany you, but I want to add another 200 million. Mr. Lin smiled gently, and his eyes secretly glanced at Zhu Yu. Zhu Yu's face also had a reassuring expression. Increasing the price to 500 million is also to stabilize Zhu Yu's heart. Old man Lin told Zhu Yu clearly that we want face, and the 500 million won this time are all yours. Although he was lying, he thought Zhu Yu couldn't see it. Just a little kid, fighting with an old oil stick like himself? Humphrey, 500 million? Sure, I'll keep you company. Yu Tizu didn't show any fear at all, and followed him directly. Old Lin, don't worry, we have inquired about it. This Zumu and Liu Tizu didn't know each other at all before. He was deceived here because he was a classmate of Liu Tizu's son. A subordinate came back from outside to report the situation. His words were like a reassurance, which made old Lin sure that he would win. Ha ha ha, good. Looking up and laughing, old Lin looked at Liu Tizu proudly, and was determined in his heart. This time, he must swallow this piece of fat meat of the Liu family. Winning 200 million from Liu Tizu is just the first step, and there are more things to do next. The follow-up plan has already taken shape in old Lin's mind. Now he is waiting for Zumu to turn against him and play a fake match. And then, fuck. The smile gradually stiffened, and old Lin looked at the ring with a shocked face. What's going on? On the ring, Zumu and Chen Kun, who was brought in by the Lin family, had already started fighting. Zumu's Greninja took action directly, and blasted his opponent with 1 against 6. Dozens and hundreds of spiral sailor swords were fired at the same time, leaving Chen Kun no chance. Zumu completed the instant kill directly. So, Lin Lao was stupid. Doesn't this kid want to live? He doesn't think Liu Tizu can save him, does he? He dared to lie to me. He is tired of living. Lin Lao roared madly in his heart, but he couldn't say anything on the surface. He could only stare at Zumu fiercely. If eyes could kill, I'm afraid Zumu would have died countless times by now. Old Lin, don't look at me like that. I don't believe you will really give me 500 million. Zumu spread his hands, saying that he was helpless. Really? Don't treat me as a fool, okay? Liu Tizu jumped up excitedly on the spot. Another 500 million. He has won 800 million today. Even if Zumu is given 1/3. The remaining 500 million is enough for the Yu family to develop in the next few years. This time I came to the party and asked Zumu for help. I made a lot of money. With these 500 million, it doesn't matter if Zumu loses the next game. He has made enough money and is full. It has to be Zumu again. This kid is really capable of doing big things. When it comes to doing big things, another one of Lin Lao's men came back and leaned against the furious Lin Lao. Master, I checked it out. This Zumu's identity is not as simple as it seems. He is the son-in-law of Kyle, the chief of Western Europe. This matter has spread in the West. Old man Lin's eyes widened and he fainted directly. Chapter 92, Capture Zumu for me. What? Before old man Lin could finish his last sentence, his blood rushed up, his brain felt dizzy, and he passed out. Old Lin, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with old Lin? It's just a few 100 million alliance coins, so why is he pretending to be dead? Who knows? You all know that old Lin is stingy with money. Maybe he is really crazy about losing money. Seeing old man Lin fainting, several big men came forward to greet him with concern and made sarcastic remarks. If the previous 300 million was shared by everyone, including Liu Tizu himself, he had to share 1%. But now it's different, because of greed. When old Lin took over Liu Tizu's 500 million gambling money, he used his own identity. In other words, these 500 million, according to reason, should be borne by the Lin family alone. Basically, if old man Lin doesn't regret it, the Lin family will be ruined. Naturally, the big men will think that old man Lin is cheating and wants to avoid the bet by pretending to be dead. But who is Liu Tizu? Will he know old man Lin's tricks? Let alone fainting. If he owes Liu Tizu money, even if he dies, Liu Tizu can scold him until he is alive, and then pay him back. That's how cruel it is. Old Lin, don't pretend to be dead. Where's your skill just now? Keep jumping and shouting. Come on, don't be silent. I know you are at home. Get up for me. Liu Tizu yelled a few times, and seeing that old Lin really didn't respond, he simply grabbed old Lin's eldest son from the stage. Lin Hadding, this matter was decided by your father and me, but now your father is pretending to be dead, so the son has to pay for the father's debt. If your father doesn't wake up, I will have to take you first. Liu Tizu's meaning was very clear. If your father is gone, then I will take you, Lin Hadding, as a hostage. Liu Tizu must get these 500 million. Lin Hadding was grabbed by the collar by the burly Liu Tizu, and the whole person was so scared that he dared not move, and nodded obediently. It means that the Lin family will pay back these 500 million even if they have to sell everything they have. And he kept assuring Liu Tizu that the Lin family would definitely give money, as long as he was released. The Lin family would not break their promise. As a result, Utizu did not believe it at all, not even a punctuation mark. What? Let you go? Dream on. If your father does not give you money, I will raise you for nothing for your whole life. Utizu made up his mind and prepared to keep Lin Hating by his side until the old man Lin decided to pay. Fortunately, this Lin Hating's strength is average, even worse than Utizu. Otherwise, if he released the elves to fight back, the situation might change again. Brother Lin, don't panic. As long as your father gives money, I will release you immediately. Utizu, keep my word. Don't worry. Patting his chest, Utizu seriously guaranteed Lin Hating, as if he really only wanted money. Seeing this, Lin Hating also gave up resistance directly, ready to follow Utizu and leave obediently, waiting for the old man Lin to save him. As a result, before the old man Lin waited, several strong men from the Lin family jumped out directly. Utizu, let go of our young master, or I will kill you. A strong man in a white robe roared angrily when he saw that Utizu not only wanted money but also kidnapped the young master. He was accompanied by several other kings. The title of king is the title that only the top 3 trainers in the challenge are entitled to. The fact that several kings can be brought at the same time shows the foundation and strength of the Lin family. However, at this moment, Lin Hating wished that the Lin family had no foundation. His own people were in Utizu's hands, but these idiots actually took the initiative to provoke Utizu, the fool. If he was really angry, he might take Lin Hating away from him now. This is also the reason why Lin Hating was afraid. Utizu, this bastard, really dared to do anything. Old you. If I take action this time, I need to pay more. Zumu saw that the opponent's strong men were going out, and it seemed that they were heading for Utizu. He immediately raised the price with a smile, and rode on the back of Charizard, and came to Utizu. Utizu smiled and said, okay, then I'll give you another 100 million, can you keep me safe? Zumu nodded. Everything is easy with money. Isn't it just a few kings? When I was fighting the Supreme, I don't know what these guys were doing. Come on. With a humble smile on his face, Zumu was ready. Greninja, Charizard, Dragonite, let's fight. He said to fight, and Zumu didn't give his opponent a chance to react. Greninja had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Seeing Zumu's order, he immediately activated the Shadow Clone technique and rushed up first. Seeing this, the Lin family could only release the elves to fight back, and at the same time look for opportunities in secret to see if they could save the young master Lin Hating. It's a pity that Zumu is not a person who leaves opportunities for his opponents. Since you have taken action, go all out. Greninja, Bond Transformation, Charizard, Mega Evolution, kill it. Money. Old man Lin actually chose to pretend to be dead and fainted when he was paying. Zumu didn't care whether the old guy really fainted or pretended to faint, just to avoid embarrassment. However, it would be better if he fainted, and it would be over. But the problem is that the money was not paid. Zumu was anxious. This is 500 million alliance coins. According to the agreement between him and Utizu, Zumu can get more than 400 million in total after counting the previous share. This is a huge sum of money. As a result, old man Lin fainted. He couldn't stand it. So, as a person who is most lazy to make trouble, Zumu decided to help Utizu, the honest man who was dead. However, Zumu couldn't control himself after this move. As a natural troublemaker, Zumu successfully made things worse again. Under Dragonite's scale reverse runaway attack, a trainer didn't have time to dodge and was hit by Dragonite's punch, on the spot. Then the Lin family's trainers were angry and fought back. Everyone tried their best to save Lin Hating. As a result, this wave of suicide attacks naturally aggravated their defeat. Seeing that the situation was one-sided, Zumu had already gained the upper hand, and the Lin family's strongmen were about to be wiped out. Chen Legui couldn't help but say, are we just going to watch? Another big man thought about it and continued, I think Utizu of the Liu family deliberately disrupted the order of the party and kidnapped the son of the Lin family. He should be expelled from the family alliance of the 5 northern provinces. Second, I agree. The big man's statements were decided in almost a few breaths. With the support of his teammates, Chan Legui stood up with full confidence. What are you waiting for? All the king-level strongmen and supreme strongmen of each family present, listen to my order. Capture Liu Tizu and Zhu Mu for me. Chapter 93. No one takes action. The scene was spectacular. At the command of Chan Legui, all the strong men above the king level on the scene took action. Everyone released their spirits in an instant, staring at Zhu Mu, Liu Tizu and others with greedy eyes. Boy, this time it's really a big deal. Liu Tizu was almost regretting it. It would be fine if he just made 300 million yuan and ran away. He had to spend it. He was not satisfied after making money, and he coveted the 500 million yuan from Old Man Lin. It's over now. These people are completely shameless. Zhu Mu also had a bitter look on his face. He wondered why he got into trouble everywhere. He was besieged by a group of veteran strongmen as soon as he disagreed with them. What kind of world is this? Aren't veteran strongmen afraid of death? I have indirectly killed so many veteran strongmen, but there are still some who don't have brains. Looking around speechlessly, although Zhu Mu was not panicked, he began to secretly calculate how to solve this game. There are too many opponents, and the tiger can't stand up to the wolves. Besides, Zhu Mu has also experienced a battle, and now his spirit's physical strength can't hold up for too long. Danger. It's my fault. They had to pay me. Zhu Mu muttered unhappily. Are you sure you want to capture me? Facing the strong men who surrounded him, Zhu Mu had no fear at all, but asked in an arrogant tone, don't pay attention to that guy. He's just bluffing. He's a top trainer, so what if he's strong? Go, all of you. Chan Legui yelled angrily, asking these strong men to take action. Seeing Chan Legui's rage, these people did not dare to hesitate any longer, and ordered their Pokémon to use the strongest means to attack. Destruction Ray, Big Word Explosion, Freezing Ray, Purgatory, Sunshine Flame, Dot. A series of attacks, almost free of charge, bombarded Zhu Mu's 3 Pokémon. Just one round of attack, 3 Pokémon of Koga Ninja were blown away, seriously injured and dying. Zhu Mu's eyes were a little red. He had never met such a shameless person before. Those strong men besieged him. Although it was too much to say, they were reasonable. In addition, Zhu Mu had something they wanted, so they didn't attack too hard, fearing that Zhu Mu would die together. Now the situation is different. Zhu Mu is alone, and he doesn't have any interests that everyone cares about. Little Lugia and Arceus didn't fight at all this time, therefore, these people were unambiguous when they started fighting, and they beat Zhu Mu to death in one round. Fuck. Gritting his teeth, Zhu Mu took back the 3 little Koga Ninjas as soon as possible, fearing that they would suffer any serious injuries and die on the spot. Then, Zhu Mu got angry. He stared at Chan Legui in the distance and showed a cruel smile. You have more people, you are stronger than me. You pretend to be better than me, and you hurt my Pokémon. That's fine, but, if you can kill me, I will call you daddy. Bastard, come on. I have been through life and death so many times, and Lugia can't kill me. I don't believe you can do it, as long as I don't die today. Chan Legui, you bastard, I will remember you. Revenge is the most realistic character of Zhu Mu. He is looking at Chan Legui now, remembering this guy deeply, and marking Chan Legui with a blood-red emphasis in his grudge notebook. Ha 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 ha. Your elves have been defeated. Now I want to see what else you can do. After Chan Legui and other strong men defeated the elves of the Liu family, they walked forward with a smile. He looked at Liu Tizu arrogantly and glanced at Zhu Mu with his peripheral vision. Humphrey, you made me lose such a big person just now, and now you are honest? Zhu Mu said nothing, just looked at everyone present coldly. Chan Legui, what do you want? Liu Tizu gritted his teeth and roared. He didn't expect that he would lose in strength. It turns out that these big families have suppressed the Liu family for so many years, and there is a reason. You deserve to be suppressed because you are not as strong as others. Just like now, he could only roar helplessly, trying to change the situation, but he could do nothing. What do I want? I don't want to do anything, just arrest two guys who disturbed the order, and then wait for Old Man Lin to wake up and let him deal with you. Chan Legui smiled triumphantly, blaming the unconscious Old Man Lin. I am shameless. What can you do to me, you bastard? Chan Legui, you Utizu wanted to curse a few more times, but Chen Laogui stepped forward and slapped him in the face. Pa! The clear and crisp sound shocked everyone present. Slapped in the face. Chen Laogui actually slapped in the face. Be quiet, you waste. Chen Laogui shook his hand with disdain and looked at Utizu with a gloomy face. Utizu was stunned. He never thought that one day he would be slapped in the face in front of so many people, including his own son. Fuck, I'll fight you, with a roar. Utizu was about to go down and fight Chen Laogui to the death, but he was stopped by the strong men of the Chen family, who captured him and pinned him to the ground. Hold this kid too. As if he was reminding him casually, Chen Laogui signaled everyone not to forget Zumyu. Zumyu sneered, this old guy is very good. He is really very good. Come on, catch me. Spreading his hands, Zumyu did not resist. He wanted to see what else Chen Laogui was going to do. No, you can't catch him. Just when the strong men stepped forward to hold Zumyu, an old voice suddenly came. Everyone turned around and saw that the old man Lin, who had just fainted, had stood up at this time, with his trembling hands supporting the table. Old Lin, what did you say? Chen Laogui looked at old man Lin in disbelief. He didn't know what was wrong with this old guy. Was he angry and stupid? He actually wanted to let Zumyu, the little devil, go. Impossible, I said. Let him go for me. No one is allowed to touch him. Old man Lin spoke again. His voice was trembling, and this sentence was almost shouted out. His abnormal behavior puzzled several big men around him. Those present were all heads of big families, and they had been friends for decades. They knew very well that old man Lin valued money more than anything else. But what happened today? Why? And Utizu, what are you doing holding him down? Let go. Old man Lin saw Utizu being pressed to the ground and shouted again. Now, everyone reacted. Everyone present looked at old man Lin in surprise. They didn't understand why this old guy was crazy and actually let go of the fat meat he had got. Old man Lin walked down the stand slowly and came to Zumyu. Then, plop, old man Lin knelt down directly. Mr. Zhu, I have no idea that I have offended you. Please forgive me. Chapter 94. The King of Kings. Revengeful. Okay. This move by old Lin shocked everyone. Kneel down and apologize. What kind of logic is this? It's not necessary to be so respectful to a thug from a civilian background. Old Lin, are you crazy? Seeing this, old Ghost Chen wanted to step forward and pull old Lin up, but he was stubbornly pushed away, and then angrily said, I don't know you, stay away from me. As he said that, he looked at Zumyu with a flattering face and smiled. Mr. Zhu, I really don't know about them. I just want to give you a gift of 500 million. Zumyu shook his finger. My elves were injured by your people. Old man Lin hurriedly said, add another 300 million for medical expenses. Mr. Zhu, give your elves a good treatment. 100 million medical expenses for an elf. Is it enough? As soon as this sentence came out, old Lin's heart was bleeding. 300 million medical expenses. How many years can he earn? Damn old Ghost Chen. A thing that is more trouble than success, a waste. Now is not the time to argue with old man Chen. What old man Lin has to do now is to appease Zumyu quickly. The son-in-law of the chief of Western Europe actually came to their small families to attend the party, and he attended as a thug. Who could have thought of this? Could it be that Zumyu has some special hobby and likes fried fish? Well, 300 million is okay, barely enough, Zumyu said, and probably understood that this old man Lin probably knew his identity as a super second generation. Otherwise, he would not be so humble. Think about it. Although the identity of the chief son-in-law sounds like it is not as awesome as a direct relative, but it is well known that Chief Kyle has only one daughter. Zumyu is now equivalent to the son-in-law of Western Europe, and may even become the new chief of Western Europe in the future. Under this relationship, the families of the 5 northern provinces like old man Lin dare not clamor no matter how powerful they are. Compared with power, their wealth and status are nothing. Seeing Zumyu reluctantly agreed, the old man Lin, who was in pain, hurriedly said, it's good that Mr. Zhu is satisfied. I am satisfied, but Liu Tizu is my friend, you can ask him if he is satisfied. Seeing Zumyu say this, the old man Lin thought to himself that it was bad, but he still pulled his old face, forced a smile, and came to Liu Tizu. At this time, Liu Tizu had been released by everyone, and was standing there with his head down and rubbing his wrist. His eyes were fierce and gloomy. "You family boy, look." Before the old man Lin finished speaking, Liu Tizu had already said, "He hit me once, I hit him back. There is nothing wrong with it." Although he didn't know what Zhu Yu did, he actually stunned the old miser of the Lin family. But now Liu Tizu was obviously too lazy to think so much. He remembered the slap from Chen Laogui very well. "No, there is nothing wrong." Looking at Zhu Yu, the old man Lin swallowed his saliva. "What is the figure of Liu Tizu? What is the figure of Chen Laogui?" The two stood together. Liu Tizu was like a giant, looking at the dwarf like Chen Laogui. Old man Lin was worried that Liu Tizu's slap would kill Chen Laogui. "Why, old Lin, what's going on? The Chen family's strength is not inferior to the Lin family. If you really compare, Chen Laogui is not afraid of old man Lin." Seeing that he decided to let Liu Tizu slap him back, Chen Laogui was not happy and jumped up and shouted excitedly, "What's going on? You have committed the sin yourself, and you still have to bear it yourself." Old man Lin was not going to explain too much to this idiot, but he was worried that he would mess around again and anger Zhu Yu. He could only bite the bullet and say, "This is an iron plate." Chen Laogui looked at Zhu Yu in a daze. "Iron plate? No. Didn't we just send someone to check? This kid is just a kid from an ordinary family. How can it be an iron plate?" "Really?" Chen Laogui asked old man Lin in confusion, his face full of disbelief. Old man Lin couldn't say it directly, so he could only say, "Mr. Zhu is 16 years old this year. It has only been more than 3 months since he got his initial Pokémon. He can have such strength. Do you think it's a sure thing?" As soon as this sentence came out, everyone present was stunned. 16 years old? At the age of 16, he can defeat the top trainer and beat Chen Fengxian? Are you kidding? Old man Lin didn't want to joke now. He just wanted to get rid of Zhu Yu, the plague god. This kid is too weird. He has such a noble status, but he hides so deeply. If one of his subordinates was not working in Western Europe, I'm afraid that everyone present today would be finished. Trust me, let him slap it back, and it's over. He persuaded again, and old man Lin had gradually lost his patience. Old man Chen was not really stupid, he was just blinded by the big cake of the Liu family before. Now seeing a series of abnormal actions by old man Lin, he finally figured it out. Without saying a word, he came in front of Liu Tizu and stretched out his old face. Liu Tizu is not polite. Just now, in front of everyone, he was hit by Chen Laogui. Now, Liu Tizu is ready. He will hit him back fiercely. Swinging his arm, Liu Tizu slapped Chen Laogui in the face, and Chen Laogui was blown away by Liu Tizu. The blood in the air drew a beautiful arc in the air and fell to the ground with him. After falling to the ground, Chen Laogui was unconscious. "Mr. Zhu, look." Seeing that old man Lin was so humble, Zhu Yu could only smile. "I think it's good, but this Chen family doesn't sound very good. It would be better if it was changed to Liu family." Leaving this sentence, Zhu Yu left directly. The revenge of the king never waits overnight. Force the king of kings. Revenge for every grievance. When everyone at the scene saw Zhu Yu swaggering away, these two words instantly appeared in their minds. Zhu Yu was too lazy to ask more about the following things. The first thing he did after leaving was to go to the Alliance Center to treat his elf. Greninja and Dragonite were the most seriously injured, while Charizard was okay, not so serious in comparison. However, when paying the bill, Zhu Yu was surprised to find that Charizard's medical expenses were several times that of Greninja and Dragonite. "I'm really sorry, sir, your Charizard asked for the best medicine, and we also." Seeing the little nurse blushing and explaining to him, Zhu Yu smiled speechlessly. This guy really cherishes his life. Fortunately, this time he harvested more than 600 million alliance coins in total, otherwise Zhu Yu would definitely not be able to support Charizard, a big user of medicine. Liu Tizu has already deposited the money into Zhu Yu's account, and the efficiency is very fast. Back in Liu Tizu's small house, Zhu Yu rested for a night. The next day, he was going to challenge the gym for the first time since he came to this world. The previous time, it didn't count if the trainer himself was not present. Chapter 95, Fighting Gym. Fighting Spirit. As night fell, several Pokémons who had just recovered from their injuries were holding a small meeting beside Zumu's bed. Cool. Tomorrow's gym battle. We have to choose 3 people to fight. Who wants to come? As the eldest brother, Greninja was the first to speak and set the tone for this meeting. That is, about the choice of tomorrow's battle. As a frog that once fought 6 people in the lava gym, Greninja is quite knowledgeable about challenging gyms. In addition, he is Zumu's initial Pokémon, so it is perfect for him to preside over this internal meeting. Roar. 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 Charizard waved his hands repeatedly. Gym battle? Forget it. I just had a fight recently and my body has not recovered to its peak. In fact, his body has recovered, but the overly cautious Charizard does not want to do anything to attract attention. He is not used to the scene of putting himself in the sun and enjoying cheers. If possible, Charizard would rather become the strongest in the world, and then act recklessly and punish evil and promote good. Greninja had long been accustomed to Charizard's character, and this guy's initiative to retreat was also within Greninja's calculations. Don't look at me. We scholars don't fight. Force can't solve all problems. As a scholar, Dragonite is firmly opposed to such bad events as fighting. Of course, if there is a reason, it's another matter. Cool. We are not fighting. This is fighting the gym. Do you understand? Only if we beat 15 more gyms, the little master can become the king, and we will also become the spirits of the king. Greninja looked very pious, as if Zumu's strength becoming stronger was a sacred thing for him. Dragonite was convinced. Okay, you win. Then count me in. Apart from Charizard, there are 2 little guys left. The first is little Lugia. Greninja looked at him and clicked his tongue. This guy stuck to Zumu as soon as he went out. It may take some time for him to officially participate in the battle. That can only be. Putting his eyes on Arceus, Greninja smiled. Cool, come fight with me. If you win, let the little master give you an extra meal. Good guy. Simple and direct. No need to beat around the bush. Just lure him with benefits. Arceus didn't say anything, just fell into the trap. Just do it. In front of food, he is always the one with the least resistance. Zumu didn't know that while he was sleeping, Greninja had already arranged for him to fight tomorrow. It was as if it was not Zumu who was going to fight tomorrow, but Greninja. This is a typical case of the Emperor not being anxious, but the eunuchs being anxious. The next morning, Zumu, led by the fat man Liu Xiao, came to the martial arts gym in Fengshan City. The owner of the martial arts gym, Yu Zhang, is the strongest in Fengshan City. It is said that he has the strength of a venerable. It's just to ensure the inheritance of the family and the transmission of the spirit of martial arts, so I came back here to become the owner of a gym. Liu Xiao knew more and took the initiative to introduce this martial arts gym to Zumu. Master Yu specializes in fighting-type Pokémons. His Shavrin and Abelin are said to be able to break a mountain with one kick. However, Master Yu's trump card Pokémon is not these 2, but an Aeldon. Liu Xiao spoke as if he knew Master Yu Zhang very well, boasting and gesticulating. Zumu did not interrupt, watching Liu Xiao's performance with interest, and gradually had a basic understanding of this Master Yu Zhang. Venerable, Aeldon, fighting gym. After extracting the keywords, Zumu began to simulate the rehearsal of this battle in his mind, thinking about what lineup he should send out to deal with it. He had no idea that the Pokémon he was going to fight had already been reserved by Greninja. Alas, there are still too few Pokémons and the lineup is not diverse enough. After thinking for a while, Zumu found that many of the perverted tactics in his mind could not be used now. He didn't have any Psychic and Ghost Pokémon, which were the most restraining Pokémon of the fighting type. He could only fight head-on. There was no other way. A good cook could not cook without rice. Liu Xiao, when will you give me that little Snorlax? Zumu asked casually, thinking of his favorite perverted trump card, Snorlax. Liu Xiao was bragging about this fighting gym, and was subconsciously stunned by Zumu's question. Then he said, "Don't worry, my father will give it to you when we return to Fengcheng. Our family is not bad." Okay, I know. Zumu was not worried that the Liu family would not give it to him. He just asked casually if he could have a Snorlax that was in love with him. Then with so many super tactics in Zumu's mind, How terrifying would his strength be? How many people would be disgusted to tears by Zoomu? TSK, smacking his lips and shaking his head. Zoomu didn't dare to think about it anymore. Arriving at the entrance of the gym, Liu Xiao took the initiative to step forward and said to the apprentice guarding the entrance, "We are trainers from Fengcheng, and we want to challenge the gym." Seeing that the two were young and looked young, the apprentice thought they were two newbies who didn't know how high the sky was. Although he was disdainful in his heart, on the surface, the apprentice still asked in a business-like manner, "Trainer level, name, register and go over there to queue up." The gym owner is not the kind of market where anyone can challenge. To challenge a gym, you must go through layers of assessments by the gym apprentices. Only after you have demonstrated your strength will the gym owner show up to fight with you. Of course, it doesn't mean that only challengers who have the strength to defeat the gym owner can challenge the gym. Every time you come to the gym to challenge, you need to pay a certain fee. Then the gym will match you with an apprentice of similar strength to the challenger based on your strength to fight with you. So, if you don't have the strength to defeat the gym owner, it doesn't mean you can't challenge the gym. As long as you have money, you can naturally come here and spend money to practice with those apprentices. Just think of it as spending money to find a sparring partner. The apprentice who was guarding the door thought that Zoomu and the other two were just such playboys, who had just graduated from school and had never seen a gym, so they wanted to spend money to broaden their horizons. Zoomu, a rookie trainer. Upon seeing this, Zoomu reported his trainer level. Then, the apprentice's eyes became even more disdainful. As expected, the damn rich second generation, with the strength of a rookie, came to challenge the gym with money. If I had such a family, I would also. The envious and jealous apprentice did not say much. After leading Zoomu and the other two into the gym, he said a few words to a fellow apprentice, and then signaled Zoomu that they could start fighting. Hehe, this is our most ruthless senior brother Fu. The damn rich second generation, you're in trouble this time. I want to make you understand that not everyone can come to the gym. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96 How Come Martial Artists Don't Have Muscles? The apprentice hid in the dark with a smirk on his face, ready to see Zoomu's joke. He had just specifically told Brother Fu that this was a newcomer who came to gain experience, so he should be ruthless and show no mercy. Otherwise, these guys would treat them as low-level sparring partners and would come over every now and then. Rookie trainer Zoomu, martial arts dojo apprentice Fuyu. The game begins. The guest referee was also a dojo apprentice. The two small flags in his hands fell, announcing the start of the game. Brother Fuyu, who was standing opposite Zoomu, was a rough-looking man. His appearance did not match his name at all. The contrast was 100%. Because of his appearance, he hated those clean-cut pretty boys since he was a child. After his brother told him about Zoomu's situation, Fuyu looked down on Zoomu even more. He wanted to beat up this rich pretty boy. "Boy, I heard that you are just a rookie trainer?" Although the game was announced, Fuyu still couldn't control his restless emotions and was ready to spit out some trash talk to warm up. Zoomu looked up in confusion when he heard it. "Yes, I am a rookie trainer. Is there a problem?" Fuyu laughed when he heard it. "Ha ha ha, no problem, no problem. You are willing to pay to be bullied. How can there be a problem with me? Let me tell you, I am an intermediate trainer. Although fighting with you may seem like bullying, in order to reflect the majesty of our gym and let you know that not all trash can come here to challenge, I decided to go all out. Bullying a weakling, and finding a plausible excuse for bullying yourself," Fuyu said shamelessly, and in his mind he had already begun to imagine the scene of himself defeating Zoomu and then Zoomu crying while holding his Pokémon. Zoomu looked at Fuyu with a face full of question marks. "Intermediate trainer, is he very strong?" His words were not sarcastic, but a sincere doubt. Since his debut, Zoomu has never fought against a serious intermediate trainer, not even once. Whether it was the campus league at the beginning or the small-scale second-generation competition later, Zoomu had never encountered an intermediate or advanced trainer. As for Fuyu's inexplicable self-confidence, Zoomu was also helpless. In this world, there are always idiots who think they are invincible. And then they will take the initiative to offer their faces to be beaten. It's very embarrassing. Haha, you will know if the intermediate trainer is strong or not if you try it. Fuyu sneered and cursed in his heart. This kid is really from a big family, and he actually looks down on the intermediate trainer. Okay, then I will let you know today that the intermediate trainer is not strong, but it is enough to abuse you. Fuyu was crazy about adding drama to himself in his heart, and he didn't notice the helplessness in Zumu's eyes. Yes, Zoomu has no interest in abusing, slapping, and pretending, but there is no way. Things are like this. Reality always forces Zoomu to do things he doesn't like. To be honest, he really doesn't want to pretend to be slapped. But who believes it? It's over. This Fuyu is ruined. The little fat man looked at Fuyu's arrogance and felt strangely distressed for this rough man. That's right, silly children are always worth loving. I hope the boss will be gentle and don't leave any shadow on him. Liu Xiao muttered silently, making the apprentice hiding in the dark look puzzled. What's going on? Aren't these two people together? What is he mumbling here? But on second thought, the apprentice felt that it was reasonable. After all, a rookie trainer dared to provoke an intermediate trainer. Isn't this the rhythm of seeking death? He really needs to pray for him. Otherwise it will be bad if he is left with a psychological shadow. After hesitating back and forth for so long, Fuyu finally decided to fight seriously. He released his initial Pokémon, Gilly. Then he looked at Zoomu proudly and said loudly, "Come on, baby, let your Pokémon out." Zoomu scratched his head in embarrassment. Is this guy sick? Greninja, be gentle. Cool, why do you always ask me to be gentle? Greninja and Zoomu both had the same embarrassing face of scratching their heads. The moment he appeared, the whole gym was quiet. Fuyu widened his eyes, looking at Zoomu and Greninja in disbelief. The apprentice beside him was also secretly surprised. What was going on? Didn't we agree that you would be a new trainer? Your new trainer directly had Greninja? Fuck. Fuyu's brain was confused for a long time, and he slowly uttered two words from his mouth. If there was a crack on the ground now, Fuyu would definitely get in without hesitation. It's so embarrassing. This. So the clown is me? You actually. Fuyu didn't know what he should say anymore. He liked to imagine that he had already imagined his own Howlee falling to the ground. Just take it as a lesson, don't be arrogant in the future. You will suffer outside. With the mentality of an old father, Zoomu comforted Fuyu earnestly. After all, the child is still young, and it is inevitable that he will make mistakes. If he really cares about a child, then Zoomu has lived a dog's life for more than 20 years. There is no need. Just educate the child and don't bully others. Zoomu said, stretching out his hand to call the gatekeeper apprentice in the distance. Contact the gym owner for me. My Greninja is a king-level elf. It should be qualified to fight the gym owner directly, right? The apprentice bent humbly and listened to Zoomu's words. After Zoomu finished speaking, he nodded quickly. Yes. Taking out the intercom, the apprentice reported directly to the eldest brother. Senior brother, there is a strong man with the strength of a king here. When is the master free? Can you arrange a gym battle? After a delay of several seconds, a cold voice came from the intercom. In half an hour, the apprentice got the reply and looked up with sweat on his forehead. Mr. Zhu, the gym battle will start in half an hour. You can go to the VIP room to rest first. His attitude was completely different from before. Zoomu didn't care about this little guy either. He nodded and took Liu Xiao to the VIP room to wait. Half an hour later, Yu Zheng arrived. After the apprentice led Zoomu and the other person to the fighting venue in the center of the gym, he respectfully withdrew. Zoomu entered the venue and looked at the owner of the martial arts gym opposite, wondering, why is this guy wearing a long flowing robe, like a scholar? It shouldn't be like this. Shouldn't those who practice martial arts be muscular men, like Fuyu? Shouldn't Yu Zheng be the kind of person with muscles all over his body? Seeing Zoomu's eyes full of doubts, Yu Zheng generously stretched out his hand and smiled frankly. Mr. Zhu, can we start the game? Chapter 97, 3-on-3 Gym Battle. Yes. Zoomu waved his hands quickly, indicating that he had no problem. The referee quickly announced the rules. Both sides could use 3 Pokémons to fight one-on-one. The gym owner would release the Pokémon first, and the gym owner could not change their Pokémons during the battle. When all the Pokémons on one side lost their combat capabilities, the game would end. Zumu had no doubts about the rules. At this time, he suddenly thought of the time when Greninja challenged the entire lava gym and the gym owner alone. How did this guy do it? From the beginning to the end, from the apprentice all the way to the gym owner, and then completed the sweep? My goodness, it's really scary to think about it. It turns out that Greninja has the attribute of passing the level. It's just incredible. Go, Shavarin. Shavarin, also known as Kiklang, is one of Yu Zhang's main Pokémons. His strength has reached the peak of the King of Heaven, and he is only one step away from entering the Master. Shavarin? Zumu licked his lips and started to get serious. Let Charizard go in the first game. Thinking of this, Zumu picked up Charizard's Pokeball. Bang! With a crisp sound, Greninja jumped out by itself. Then he put Charizard's Pokeball back on Zumu's belt, picked up Arceus' Pokeball, and handed it back to Zumu. After doing all this, Greninja nodded with satisfaction and returned to the Pokeball. Zumu stared at Greninja's operation in a daze, a little confused. Am I the trainer, or are you the trainer? You train by yourself, and you decide to appear in the battle. Is the meaning of my existence to feed you and clean up your shit? Yu Zhang saw this scene, smiled lightly, and a rare smile appeared on his quiet face. It's interesting, this young man. Like an elder, Yu Zhang looked at Zumu with interest. Zumu was helpless, but as a qualified trainer, listening to the Pokémon is obviously a required course. Obediently releasing Arceus, Zumu calmed down again. Little guy, get ready for battle. Got it, Zumu? Arceus said to Zumu excitedly after telepathy. Zumu was dumbfounded again. Is Arceus so belligerent too? When did it happen? Oh my god, how come I, a trainer, am just a bitch? Sure enough, being a trainer is too tiring. I was tricked by the dog system. What kind of Pokémon is this? Yu Zhang looked at Arceus with curiosity and asked excitedly. He didn't expect to meet a Pokémon he had never seen before. Zumu was used to it. It should be a magical setting that people in this world don't know Arceus. His name is Arceus. He is a very rare Pokémon. There is only one in the world at present, Zumu introduced responsibly. Upon hearing this, Yu Zhang decisively took out his mobile phone, ran to the venue in person, and took photos with Arceus. It seemed that he thought the angle of the selfie was not perfect enough, so Yu Zhang handed the camera to the referee and asked the referee to take a photo of him and Arceus. Zumu saw that this gym owner named Yu Zhang was definitely a guy who really liked Pokémon. But even if you like it, you shouldn't be so excited, right? This is my elf. Can I charge for taking photos? After a long time, Yu Zhang reluctantly left Arceus and began to look at the photos he had just taken. After some deletions and revisions, Yu Zhang posted another circle of friends. After doing all this, he finally reacted and said to Zumu, I'm really sorry, I saw an elf that I haven't discovered before, and I was a little excited. I'm really sorry. Zumu smiled and expressed his understanding. Then he spread his hands and said, 1,500 yuan. Huh? Yu Zhang was stunned. What 1,500 yuan? Zumu said naturally. The cost of taking photos? 1,500 yuan. You just took 15 photos, and I charged 100 yuan per photo. Is there anything wrong with that? Yu Zhang thought about it and it seemed that there was indeed nothing wrong. Is there anything wrong with charging for taking photos? That's right. Okay, then I don't have any money now. I'll give it to you after the battle is over. It's just right that I can invite you and Arceus to dinner. Hearing about dinner, Arceus jumped up before Zumu could say anything. Yo, seeing Arceus was very excited and wanted to end the game right now. Zumu held his forehead speechlessly. Then I won't be polite. Let's fight now. This little guy can't wait. Okay, let's start the fight. With Yu Zhang's words, Zumu's eyes gradually changed, and the original joking intentions were swept away. Shavarin, 2 consecutive kicks. Arceus, counterattack with super speed. Shavarin's legs lit up with white light, and he ran towards Arceus at a high speed. At the moment he was about to reach Arceus,
He kicked out with a powerful force. Arceus obeyed Zumu's instructions and used super speed directly to avoid Chavarin's fatal kick, and then took advantage of the momentum of the super speed to counterattack. Chavarin is an old elf who has experienced hundreds of battles. He deliberately left one kick unpunched in the 2 consecutive kicks, just waiting for Arceus' counterattack. Almost instantly, Chavarin's right leg, which had been behind him, kicked out and kicked Arceus, who was unprepared, away. You still have too little experience. Zumu saw that Arceus was crushed by Chavarin in his independent judgment, and his heart suddenly became heavy. After all, Arceus was still too young. Even if he had the strength of a king at birth, he was still weaker than this king Pokémon who climbed up from the bottom. However, isn't this the meaning of a trainer? To defeat the strong with the weak and help Pokémon find the rhythm of the battle. Isn't this what a trainer should do? Zumu smiled indifferently and said with great confidence, Arceus, bluff, and then use a stand. Bluffing, angering the opponent, and making it fall into confusion. But the physical attack will be greatly increased. Yu Zheng was obviously not prepared enough for the transformation skills, and did not expect Zumu to use a low-level skill like bluffing. So Chavarin was hit directly, while the physical attack was greatly increased. Chavarin also fell into a state of confusion. Chavarin, flying knee kick. Yu Zheng's bad luck. Chavarin ignored his order and continued to circle in the same place. Arceus took this opportunity to use his stand, predict the future, self-recovery. Zumu remained calm and gave the order calmly. Arceus quickly completed the use of 2 psychic skills under Yu Zheng's helpless gaze. The situation was reversed in an instant. Zumu's role as a trainer was instantly reflected to the extreme. Chapter 98, Fierce Fighting and Fierce Fighting. While Chavarin was in a state of confusion, Zumu continued to give orders. Electromagnetic waves, and then keep meditating. Electromagnetic waves will 100% paralyze the opponent. As the god of creation, Arceus has a wide range of skills. Using variable skills in succession, constantly making small changes to the battle situation, Zumu gradually took advantage of himself. Yu Zheng was not given away for nothing. After being hit by the electromagnetic wave, Chavarin had already lifted the state of confusion, and with the paralyzed body, he used a flying kick to destroy Arceus's stand. Unfortunately, Arceus's physical strength has been restored, and he took the opportunity to use meditation to greatly improve his special attack, Power of the Earth. Zumu did not choose to use Earthquake, but used a special attack Power of the Earth. Presumably, Yu Zheng's Chavarin should have done high-intensity training and physical resistance. Instead of using the combination of Sword Dance and Earthquake, Zumu chose meditation with the Power of the Earth. It just happened to enhance the power of predicting the future used previously. With Arceus's heavy foot on the ground, the first battle was declared over. A purple light suddenly appeared in the sky, predicting the future. Under multiple attacks, Chavarin was directly sentenced to death and fainted on the ground. Yu Zheng took back Chavarin and looked at Zumu in surprise. I was careless. I didn't expect your fighting style to be so flexible. With a low sigh, Yu Zheng rekindled his fighting spirit and shouted, but, in the next battle, I will let you know what fighting is. The charm of fighting was once demonstrated vividly by this man on the world's highest stage, the World King Tournament. He also founded this martial arts gym and spread the fighting system. Now, being defeated by Zumu with the transformation skill, Yu Zheng felt unhappy from the bottom of his heart. However, it was not a big problem. He still had 2 elves, and the battle had just begun. A blang. Let the opponent see the charm of our fighting. Releasing the second elf, Yu Zheng stared at Zumu, waiting for his decision. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the Arceus sign-in mission. 3. Carry or use Arceus to participate in a battle of the king level. Reward a random stone tablet. Ding. The Arceus sign-in mission has been completed. Since Arceus has obtained 3 stone tablets, the system will open the legendary sign-in mission. Arceus's Lost Stone Tablet. Arceus's Lost Stone Tablet. The host needs to explore the secret realms around the world. Every time you sign in at a place, the system will automatically collect Arceus stone tablets. Zumu felt a little uncomfortable, Why do I have to sign in at a secret realm to collect stone tablets? Isn't this just idle? Dog system, do you know that I have been blacklisted by the authorities in the secret realm? Are you deliberately mocking me? Entering a secret realm is so difficult. I have only been there twice, but I was blacklisted. Now you want me to go to the secret realm, but I am powerless. Why don't you discuss it with the Chief of the East and see what he says? If the big guys have no objection, then I will definitely work hard to complete the mission and will never act. Zumu complained to the system silently in his heart. He was used to being calculated by the dog system, but this time he really didn't expect that the dog system actually proposed to sign in at the secret realm by himself. Good guy. Zumu also wanted to go to a place like the secret realm. Who can stand this thing of getting a divine beast every time he goes there? Forget it. Let's solve the current battle first. Thinking that he could only stay in school miserably, Zumu shook his head helplessly and decided to finish this gym battle seriously first. Arceus, you have worked hard, and I will give you an extra meal tonight. After praising the little guy, Zumu took him back to the Pokeball, and then consciously released Greninja, letting him decide who would be the next Pokémon to fight. Seeing Zumu being so self-conscious, Greninja smiled triumphantly and released Dragonite. Cool. Reading Dragon, you must do your best in this battle. Leave it to me with confidence. Although fighting cannot solve everything, fighting violence with violence is the best way to deal with everything, Dragonite said in a literary way, and a black line flashed across Zumu's head. So you are this kind of Dragonite. You said you didn't like fighting at that time, so I decided to subdue you. Now you say you want to fight violence with violence? Forget it. Zumu no longer entangled with this issue. Since Dragonite wants to fight, then go. As a trainer, what he has to do is to seriously help Dragonite win the battle and exert his strength to 120%. Dragonite, use speed. Abby Lang, Sonic Punch. There is no order of attack. Zumu and Yuzhang once again ordered at the same time. Compared with Arceus, Dragonite has obviously more combat experience. Although this guy has always turned on the reverse scale to enter the rampage mode to push the opponent, he is still a little experienced. Facing Abby Lang's light-speed first attack, Dragonite, who used speed, rushed over even faster. Seeing that the start was not favorable, Yuzhang hurriedly ordered, Abby Lang, over-shoulder throw. Dragonite, fly up to avoid, and then use Dragon Dance. Zumu's concept of combat is very simple. Strengthen. Strengthening is the way to go. Only by improving your own abilities can you defeat a powerful opponent with the least effort. Strengthening is the way to go in battle. This is a brilliant summary from a champion-level tactical expert. Dragonite uses Dragon Dance, and Yuzhang will not let it strengthen itself. He quickly ordered, Real Chi Bullet. As one of the few long-range attack methods in the fighting department, the Real Chi Bullet is one of the most handy skills used by Abby Lang. It is the most suitable thing to use it to break Dragonite's strengthening. But is it that simple? Zumu chuckled. Dragonite, dodge and continue Dragon Dance. Dragon Dance, it's called dancing. Isn't it the right thing to dodge a skill? Dragonite skillfully performed a strange dance, dodging the attack of the Real Chi Bullet at the same time, and then danced again. Yuzhang was a little crazy. This is a bit bad. You can dodge attacks while using skills. You are cheating. Abby Lang, leap, and then continuous lightning punches. Since it doesn't work at a long distance, then fight at close range. Zumu saw Abby Lang leaping high, ready to fight Dragonite, and he smiled again. Dragonite, you can free yourself now. Don't suppress your desire to fight. Use reverse scale. Zumu's Dragonite's signature move is reverse scale, which can be said to be Dragonite's innate skill. Moreover, the current reverse scale is not an ordinary reverse scale, but a reverse scale strengthened by 2 Dragon Dances. Dragonite is about to become a god. Chapter 99 Frontal Suppression. Dragonite is a god. Dragon Dance has raised his strength to a level that ordinary elves can hardly reach. Now, let alone defeating Abby Lang in front of him, even killing gods is not a big problem. The violent Dragonite waved his fists, knocking Abby Lang of the fighting system away again and again, and his powerful fists rained down on Abby Lang. The reading dragon became violent. It was so terrifying. Zumu couldn't bear it anymore.
Seeing that Abilang gradually lost the strength to resist, he hurriedly said, "Dragonite, it's enough. If they continue to fight, something will happen." Can Abilang's small body withstand such a beating from Dragonite? Fighting is useless. The natural suppression of the race, coupled with the strengthening of Dragon Dance. Even if Abilang's original strength is stronger, he can't stand Dragonite's violent temper. This is definitely the elf version of Hulk. "Abilang, you've worked hard." Yuzhang took back Abilang helplessly and comforted him. He didn't expect that Zumu, a young man, had such a strong command ability. At the beginning, he thought Zumu was just a second generation, relying on the strength of his family to achieve his current achievements and strength. But now, he would never think so. Zumu really has the strength of a venerable. This is not a joke. Relying on Pokémon that are not as strong as his own, Zumu has made 2 consecutive strong comebacks. He definitely relies on hard power, not some unorthodox methods. For such a young trainer, his future is probably limitless. Looking at Zumu, Yuzhang smiled and said, "Boy, you are very good." At this moment, he looked at Zumu with his eyes no longer as a senior looking at a junior, but a real level look. Zumu used his own strength to get the recognition of the owner of this martial arts gym. "This is too important. Thank you for the compliment, owner." Zumu also smiled and put the Dragonite back into the Pokeball. He had already guessed who would be sent in the next battle. With the aggressive personality of Greninja, he would not allow himself to be left behind. So the key finale is definitely him. "Greninja, come out to fight." With a chuckle, Zumu released Greninja. "Cool, I am Greninja, and I am willing to serve the Zoo family for generations." "Stop." Zumu hurriedly stopped Greninja from continuing to speak. It was too embarrassing, and he couldn't continue. Fortunately, Yuzhang didn't understand, otherwise he would definitely look at him with a weird look. Such a second-year Pokémon is definitely not something that an ordinary trainer can cultivate. Transform directly and prepare for the battle. Zumu covered his forehead helplessly, not ready to let this frog talk anymore, and the fighting was the kingly way. Greninja was very dissatisfied with being interrupted by Zumu in his opening remarks. He stubbornly shouted, "Cool, I am Greninja, and I am willing to go through fire and water for the Zoo family for generations, and I will do anything." Sure enough, after finishing the opening remarks, he had the strength to fight. Greninja perked up and completed the transformation in an instant. Then, under Yuzhang's surprised gaze, he signaled him to summon his Pokémon quickly. "Cool, hurry up, I can't wait," Greninja said, and raised his finger provocatively to Yuzhang. Yuzhang could not help but be speechless. How was this frog bred? Why does it look so naughty? "Alito, we seem to be underestimated." Seeing Greninja's attitude, Yuzhang sighed lightly, rekindled his competitive spirit, and released his ace Pokémon, Alito. "Leiku, then let him see our strength." Alito was full of energy, waving his arms, ready to teach Greninja a lesson. "Cool, what are you yelling about? Your partner has been defeated by my partner. Now it's my turn to defeat you." Greninja learned from Zumu, and he is quite sharp in scolding people and making harsh remarks. The result of the previous 2-0 battle was known to both Pokémons even though they were in the Pokeball. Now Greninja exposed this scandal without a word, which really made Alito very uncomfortable. "Thunder, be quiet. As long as I can defeat the 3 of you, that's enough." Alito was very angry, and he was disgusted by Greninja's behavior of exposing his weakness. Showing off his muscles, he decided to fight 3 people at once and give this arrogant frog a good beating. "Don't think that you are great just because you can transform. Who can't do it?" "Alito, Mega Evolution!" Yuzhang shouted, and the evolution stone on Alito's body also lit up at the same time. "It's just a transformation and evolution. Who can't do it? What's so arrogant about it?" Greninja has never seen a Pokémon like Alito, so naturally he doesn't know that the other party can transform. Seeing the evolutionary light on Alito and the change in appearance, Greninja instantly became serious. This is an opponent. Alito, who was already a master level, became even stronger after a Mega Evolution, and directly promoted a small level. This made Greninja very uncomfortable. "I'm already strong, and you can be even stronger. Isn't this plain tricks?" However, the Zoo family ninjas never admit defeat. Greninja looked at Alito and slowly began to form seals with his hands. "Greninja, The same old routine, shadow clone technique, then Rasengan Water Shuriken. There was nothing fancy about it. Greninja had already mastered Uzumaki Naruto's signature skill, a shadow clone technique, followed by a Water Shuriken combined with Rasengan. This opening was already Greninja's signature. Sure enough, a signature is a signature, and one trick is enough to win the world. In the battle, Greninja's trick was invincible. You had seen him create dozens of clones and 2 Water Shurikens at the same time, and immediately thought that these were all illusions. Alito, Mikiri. With the protection of the fighting system, Mikiri can dodge the opponent's next skill 100%. Then, after dodging the first Water Shuriken, Alito was in tragedy. Boom 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 boom. A series of attacks hit his face, and Alito was instantly blown away. Evil Wave. Zumu predicted that Yu Zhang's next move would be a psychic skill such as mental power, and directly ordered Greninja to use the Evil Wave, without any defense against the upcoming attack. Boom. A psychic energy wave hit Greninja, but did not cause any damage. Seeing that his counterattack was perfectly resolved by Greninja, Alito was shocked and was hit directly by the Evil Wave before he could think about it. Next move, Swallow Return. Zumu's offensive continued. After the Evil Wave, he used another flying skill, which directly restrained Alito. Aren't you strong? Okay. Then I'll use attributes. Chapter 100, the second gym badge. Even if Greninja is not strong enough, the quantitative change is enough to affect the qualitative change. With the continuous attacks, Alito can no longer bear it. He was hit directly by Yan Fan in the face before he could dodge. He only had time to scream when he flew backwards. From childhood to adulthood, he has never had such a frustrating battle. Yu Zhang looked at Alito with heartache and said slowly, "Show us our real kung fu." He still has a trump card. In addition to Mega Evolution, he has his own special understanding of fighting. Otherwise, how can he build a gym of his own? Martial arts. His understanding of fighting is the name of the gym. Use martial arts to enhance the combat ability of Pokémon and carry forward the traditional martial arts of the East in Pokémon battles. Bajikan Wapai. With a special attack, Alito, who received the order, instantly raised his right arm, swung his arm in an extremely weird way, and attacked Greninja directly. The tile-splitting skill that was combined with Bajikan looked more powerful and seemed to have an unavoidable effect, hitting Greninja accurately. Fortunately, the skill Greninja just used was Swallow Return, which was a flying skill. The damage from the tile-splitting skill was reduced. Otherwise, he would have been in trouble with just this one. I say, they have shown their true abilities, so let's not hide our abilities. Zumu saw Yu Zhang use his best skills and immediately became serious. Greninja also distanced himself from Alito immediately after being attacked. Cool, it should have been done earlier, little master. After agreeing, Greninja rushed towards Alito again. One more time, Swallow Return. Zumu issued an order, and Greninja followed up instantly. He jumped high, drew a beautiful arc in the air, and attacked Alito like a bird. Counterattack, Tai Chi, Close Combat. Tai Chi combined with Close Combat. This is also the ultimate move that Alito has practiced for many years. If this attack can hit, I'm afraid Greninja will definitely die on the spot. However, just as Yu Zhang and Alito confidently counterattacked and avoided Greninja's Swallow Return with a little effort, Alito swung a punch. They were surprised to find that Greninja had turned into a stand-in wood. Ninjutsu? Yu Zhang exclaimed. It took him so many years to barely integrate martial arts with the elves to form a special combat system. However, Zumu is so young that he has perfectly combined ninjutsu with Greninja. Thinking of the previous shadow clone technique and the current stand technique, Yu Zhang felt a chill on his back. This kid is so powerful that it's a bit scary. He is definitely a peerless genius. I'm afraid his future achievements will be more than just the venerable. After making a new conclusion about Zumu, Yu Zhang's fighting spirit became stronger. Isn't it just ninjutsu? After all, I have lived for several decades and have been obsessed with martial arts. If I don't even have the courage to fight this fledgling boy, how can I be a gym trainer? Go back and find a class. He didn't know that the mastery of Koga Ninja's ninjutsu was not really Zumu's credit. This is the work of the dog system. So, Yu Zhang had no need to compete with Zumu. This is just a cheater. How can he win? Sure enough, in the following battle, Koga Greninja fully let Uzang and Lido see what a real ninjutsu master is. The battle gradually entered a one-sided trend. Koga Greninja relied on his skilled three-body technique and the water ninjutsu that was like playing a trick to make Lido collapse. After a long time, Uzang took back Lido with lifeless eyes and swallowed the bitter defeat of this battle. You are great. After calming down his emotions, Uzang praised. Yu chuckled and shook his head to indicate that this was not his credit. Master Yu, I have to say that you are the most special one among the venerable level trainers I have ever met. Yu didn't mention the venerables before, he killed many of them like pigs. But the feeling Uzang gave him was completely different from those before. This gym trainer had an inexplicable affinity. How to say it? It was like the feeling of an old principal. This guy should really like Pokémon and is really willing to train the younger generation. Very special. Yu secretly evaluated Uzang in his heart. He was willing to make friends with such a kind person. Haha, you said this as if you were praising me. Uzang said this in a judgmental tone. It seemed that Yu looked down on the venerable trainers and had a natural contempt for trainers at this level. That's right, contempt. However, Yu's words did not have any malice, and Uzang could hear it. So Uzang was not angry, but smiled helplessly. There was no way. His skills were not as good as others, so how could he say more? Yu didn't want to explain too much about what happened before. He just came to Uzang. Master Yu, thank you for your guidance. You too, Yu, thank you for your guidance. The two sides shook hands in a friendly manner, and then Yu received the martial arts badge bestowed by Uzang himself. Boy, are you going to participate in the next King Challenge? After handing out the badges, Uzang was ready to chat a little more, so he asked casually, No, I'm going to participate in this one. Yu's words were shocking. The next one didn't exist, and old Kyle didn't give himself so much time. For Shirona, he had to race against time. Well, it's true that heroes emerge young. Uzang laughed to cover up his embarrassment, and then asked, Then how old are you this year? Yu thought about it and answered frankly, 16. Afraid that Uzang would not believe it, he also deliberately added, I am really a rookie trainer, and I just got Greninja not long ago. Good guy. If Yu's first sentence was a knife, it would pierce the heart of Uzang, the old man. Then the second sentence he added was an axe, which hit Uzang's forehead directly. It hurts. This is killing and breaking the heart. Uzang looked at Yu speechlessly, and after a long time, he slowly uttered a few words. You are very good. After that, he simply turned around and left. Yu looked puzzled, and seeing that Uzang was about to leave, he hurriedly shouted, Master Yu, please leave your contact information. Uzang didn't want to stay any longer for a minute, so he directly shouted a number and then strode away, without looking back. There was no need to look back. Being with Yu was too much of a test for the heart. Uzang was worried that he couldn't bear it. Maybe Yu's words would make him die on the spot. It's better to be straightforward. It's okay to make friends, but it's better to communicate less. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.